Yeah, we're live. Okay, guys. It's been a while since I streamed live with StreamYard, so let's wait. Let me know in the chat if you can hear me. Klaus, what's up, man? Amy, welcome. Yeah, Klaus, let me know. This is the first time I'm sharing the music like this. Can you hear the music and can you hear me? Nayan, what's up, mate? How are you? Thomas, what's good, man? Just real quick, guys. Let me know if you can hear me. Just type it in the chat. And also let me know if you can hear the music and what it sounds like when I talk over it. Okay, great. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. It's quite weird because I'm using StreamYard to stream, but it's not showing the actual amount of people that are here. So I don't know. I have no clue how many are here. Maybe 10, maybe 5, maybe more, maybe less. But we'll see. Great. Thanks, Mark. Thanks for letting me know, bro. Thank you. Great. 47. That's awesome. Thanks, Ramiel. So how are y'all doing today, guys? Where are you calling in from? Let me know. Chiara, welcome. It's been a long time since I saw you. How are you? Lots of old school familiar faces. Okay, nice. 50-50. Great. I think there's a slight delay in here, but that's normal. Yeah, 51 people. Awesome. Sabina, it's over 9,000. I think it's going to be a while till we reach that, but that would be insane. Argentina. Okay, here we go. Pakistan, Argentina, Ireland, India, Lower Saxony, Germany, I reckon. Antwerp, Malta, Slovenia, Amsterdam, Portugal, Alkmaar. Okay, lots of Dutch people. Rotterdam, Denmark, Slovakia, UAE, Berlin. Okay, awesome. Super nice. Egypt, Malaysia. Super nice, guys. International crowd. So what we're going to do today, guys, is I'm going to turn off the music in a sec. Let me know, actually. Is it annoying to hear me while you hear the music, or is it actually a nice addition? Let me know, because I have no clue. USA, Eindhoven, UK, Indonesia. Very cool, guys. Very cool. So, Mark is calling in from Namek. Yep. Okay, guys. So what we're going to do today, let me actually kill the music. Let the music play. Okay. Let's keep it on. Sure. Okay, then the next test, and then we will kick it off, guys. The next test is if I go like this, can you still hear the music when I am full screen like this? Can you still hear the music? Yeah, Nicole, I agree. Okay, cool. Amateur music. Yep. Okay, guys, awesome. I'm gonna kill the music now. For next time, I'm gonna check out maybe some nice like background music, but this has vocals, so that's kind of annoying. Let's see, how do I actually do that? Here we go. Okay, so for those of you who enjoyed that, that is Shingo Nakamura. I would 100%. I always recommend his music. It's so nice to listen to. It's also nice to work to. So that was that. Okay, for the next part, guys, maybe next time I will find some like music that is better suited for background. But for now, let's just dive into what we are gonna do today. So it is just a nice little Q&A with you guys. It's been so long since I went live on LinkedIn. A couple of weeks or maybe even 2 months ago now, I went live with Thomas Etchel and Adrian Decker on their show. But I figured, hey, let's do let's set up something again. Also, with a little sort of side note, we're launching the PPC Mastery podcast tomorrow, which I'm super excited about. So I thought, okay, let's do something fun. Let's get the community together. Let's answer some questions. And instead of just going like, okay, we're going to do Q&A for 30 or 60 minutes, I'm going to be answering 100 questions. And I have invited some of my friends to come on stage. So Ramiel Akil is going to come on. He's a freelance Google Ads specialist. All of these people that you're going to meet are in the PPC Hub. They're all super high level Google Ads specialists. We have Ramiel, who's a freelancer, and he has a really cool journey, and he's also now specializing more in the AI side of marketing. So it's going to be exciting to talk to him about that. He is also a crazy RuneScape player, so we're going to be talking about that for sure. Let's see. Then we have I have to check out the order. I think after that we have Thomas Etchel. A lot of you will know him, and he's gonna, we're going to be talking about demand gen together and also taking questions, of course. Then Adrian is coming on, and after that is Katarina from Italy, and then lastly we have Roger Cooney, who's from the US. So super cool crowd today, and can't wait to kick this off. So guys, if you have a question, and I have to see if I can actually pull this up. Yes, I'm going to answer 100 questions, and also the people that are going to come on as well. For some questions, maybe we'll take a little bit longer, but for most questions, we'll do more so like rapid fire answers, because, otherwise it's just going to take so long until we get to 100. So if you have a question, please drop it in the comments, drop it in the chat. GM, Edwin, GM, drop it here, because then I can pull it on the screen and I can answer it for you. So the first thing that I will do actually now is boop, 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 boop. And I also have a few other things that I have prepared for today. So the first thing that I will do is answer a few questions from you guys that have submitted questions beforehand. So I have to see how I can do that. Give me a sec, guys. Give me a sec. Window, share. Okay. So what I have to do now is I have to actually remove some of the banners, because this is quite annoying. Hide. Yes, this looks good. This looks good. Okay, guys. So the first question is from Amia. Amia, how does having multiple Performance Max campaigns with overlapping product sets impact overall campaign performance? This is the first question. Great question. I think what you're going to see if you have overlapping products in different campaigns is that you're going to spread your data across multiple campaigns, and that's probably unnecessary to do. So what I usually do is, if I have a product in one campaign, then I exclude them in the others, because then the data gathers in one campaign and it has sort of a compounding effect, because, as you know, Google Ads algorithm just needs a lot of data to work. And if you have the same products in different campaigns, you're just spreading your data out for no reason. So my recommendation is always, if you have it in one campaign, exclude it from the other, so that you don't, fragment your data too much. Okay, so now I have to check. So one is done. Would have been nicer if I can actually easily pull this up, but hey, it is what it is. Okay, question 1 is done. I'm going to do 5 of these, and then I'm going to head to the chat, see what you guys have for me live. Okay, Nayan, what factors to consider when choosing between maximize conversion value and target ROAS, bidding strategies for search and pMax campaigns, and when maximize conversion value tends to spend the entire budget without caring about the ROAS? When using TROAS, Google keeps the ROAS in mind and thus restricts the budget. Yeah, so one thing definitely to keep in mind with target ROAS is that you need sufficient conversion volumes per month. Otherwise, it's usually not going to work. With target CPA, in my experience, it's a bit different. It tends to work a bit more smoother and faster with less conversion volumes, but with target ROAS, I wouldn't even bother using it if you have less than 30 conversions in a certain campaign per month, unless you're using portfolio bid strategies to bundle that data. But yeah, maximize conversion value could be really nice to ramp it up in the beginning, but you also have to be aware of, well, high CPCs, and as you said, like the main goal with these maximize conversion value and maximize conversions bid strategies is to spend as much as fast as possible to ramp it up. So in the beginning, that is fine. It's actually recommended. But once you have, let's say, that range of 30 conversions per month, then I would recommend to switch to target ROAS. And yes, it can restrict the budget, but if that's the case, then maybe your ROAS target is too aggressive. And if you switch from maximize conversion value to target ROAS, make sure that you're using the ROAS that you're actually getting. So let's say, for example, you want a 300% ROAS, but after the first week, you only have a 200% ROAS. Don't set it to 300% because then it's going to restrict it, because it hasn't reached that target yet. So start with 200. That's realistic for the algorithm, and then slightly work your way up towards the actual target that you want. Okay, guys, that's number 2. I'm going to write that down and make the changes on screen. Okay, Matt. Question around sales. Which levers would you pull to substantially increase spend while maintaining a ROAS target when a week-long sale comes around? I do SMBs or seasonality bid adjustments, increase budgets, increase CPC caps, and lower T ROAS. But my last 2 sales, I've seen spend rise too much and ROAS be too weak. Well, you're already doing a lot of the things that you can do. One thing that I'm missing here is maybe your campaign structure. That's something that you can experiment with if you have a sale that's running. Make sure, if not every product is on sale, that you isolate the sale products so that you can push them more. But apart from that, what's really important if you have a sale is that your offer is just really good. So yeah, you're already, increasing CPC caps, lowering your target ROAS, increasing budgets, seasonality bid adjustments. That's kind of the toolbox that you have that you can work with. But if your spend is increasing and your ROAS is too weak, maybe you're being too aggressive. That could definitely be the case. Also, one thing as well is keep in mind what the overall performance is across different channels. So if you have a sale period, also check like how is your performance through email, how's your performance on Meta, etc. Because those work hand in hand with your Google Ads performance. And if you're pushing a lot on email, maybe that can compensate a little bit for the more aggressive targets that you can set for Google Ads to get more conversions after sort of that point of diminishing returns, if you understand what I mean. So yeah, you're already doing a lot here. Think about your campaign structure as well. Of course, ads and all that stuff is important. Your landing page is crucial, and your offer. It's really hard to say why the spend is increasing and the ROAS is weak because they don't have the context of your account. But yeah, I would say definitely look at it from a holistic perspective and not just Google Ads here. Okay, I see a lot of questions coming in on LinkedIn. Awesome. I'm going to do 2 more from here, and then we're going to move to LinkedIn. How to do a search campaign strategy, or how to start one in the first place for a new account in a highly restricted market, such as pharmaceuticals or adult toys, when in most cases the impressions and therefore the clicks are very low. Well, if your impressions and clicks are low, that's a given. Try to capture as much as you can of the demand. I know with these restricted markets, you have to adhere to the policies. Make sure that you set up the right settings in Google Merchant Center, for example, for adult toys, that you select the toggle the adult setting, and also maybe add it to your feed that it's an adult product. But yeah, if impressions and clicks are low, then that's a given. And then you try to capture as much of the demand as you can, and then you move on to more mid-funnel, upper funnel placements, channels where you can actually create more demand, which I also understand is super hard. I don't really have much experience with pharmaceuticals and adult toys, etc., because I always stayed away from those kind of clients because yeah, because I know how annoying it can be with restrictions and getting your account blocked and getting ads disapproved, etc., for sometimes no reason, even if you do comply with the policies. So I usually just stayed away from these clients. So I'm sorry, I cannot really like help you from experience that I've had. So yeah, that's why I've done mostly D2C, direct to consumer e-com, because it's an easy, quote unquote, straightforward business model. Okay, Paulo, that's question number 4. Paulo, for large e-com stores with over 500k products, how should shopping or pMax be structured? Is it still worth consolidating products into a few campaigns, or should they be divided more just to help Google manage them effectively, even if they have the same goals? So if you have 500,000 products, I don't know how much budget you have, but I assume that you would not be possible, or you would not be able to spend anywhere near as much as you need to test all of these products. So the first thing that I would do, and I actually spoke to Bob about this recently because we're building the shopping mastery course, is that with search, yes, generally consolidation is the best approach, but with shopping and pMax, you want to think more in terms of segmentations. As long as your data, if you have enough data, that's crucial, obviously, to begin with. But if you have 500,000 products, then you already need to start segmenting from the get-go, because you can't advertise on 500,000 products. So start there, like maybe take the top 10, top 20%, then you're still at 100,000 products. Maybe there's different product variations for sort of a mother parent product. So that will already probably reduce the amount of SKUs that you have. But I would be really like critical here to think about, is it necessary? Is it even useful? Is it valuable to advertise on so many products? And the answer is probably no. So make an initial segmentation and start with best-selling categories, best-selling products, the things that you have already seen maybe in the past that these products tend to perform well. It's really dangerous to advertise on too many products, especially in the beginning, because then you're spreading your budget really thin. And let's say you get a couple of dollars, couple of euros spent per product, then there's no way that Google can find out which products need to be pushed more, etc. After you have your initial conversions, let's say 100 per month, then performance-based bucketing can become super relevant, which is the system that Product Hero developed with the heroes, sidekicks, villains, and zombies. And this basically allows you to spend more on the winning products and spend less on the products that do not perform well. And that still, in my experience, still outperforms almost everything else. So with so many products, you want to initially think about, okay, how can we segment out? How can we remove products from the feed that are not serving, not necessary to advertise on? Yeah, I hope that helps, because I don't know too much about your conversion amounts, your budgets, etc. Okay, last question I'm taking from Slido now. Then we go to LinkedIn. Sauraf, how to deal with really high CPC keywords given a limited budget, and what bidding strategy would be recommended given the average monthly conversions in that ad account is between 4 and 5. If you have really high CPCs with search, I recommend using portfolio bid strategies, because with portfolio bid strategies, there's a hidden setting in there. You can set up a max CPC cap, a bid limit, and then Google's not going to go beyond a certain CPC cap that you set. That would be one. If you only have 4 to 5 conversions per month, I don't know too much about your spend here, but if you have such a low amount of conversions, you definitely want to consolidate as much as you can. So bundle as much data as you can while still remaining relevant. So what you could do, for example, is set up a campaign, different ad groups, structured by themes, and then try to consolidate those ad groups as much as you can as well. And you can keep the relevance by using keywords on the final URL on the keyword level and dynamic keyword insertion. But if you go all the way back, the PPC Mastery podcast new season is launching tomorrow. And in episode 4 or 5, I sat down with Geert Groot, and he is the master at driving results with limited budgets. And he also stressed to me how important it is to create hyper relevance with your campaigns and your ads. So if you have limited budgets, and you're only getting 4 to 5 conversions per month, you probably just need to remove a lot of things and focus on the maybe the couple of keywords that work well and really optimize them. And that also means optimizing your landing page for those, optimizing your offer for those, because that is going to give you the edge, and not okay, yes, bid limits, of course, if you can bring the average CPC down there, that's definitely going to help you. But if it's if you have such low limited budgets and low amount of conversions, you can make a lot of impact by simply repositioning yourself with a different positioning on your landing page, optimizing the offer, etc. So you want to make sure that there's hyper relevancy between the keywords and the landing pages. Make it as easy as possible for people to convert. If it's lead gen, make the lead forms as simple as possible, etc. So hopefully that helps. Okay, we're gonna go back to Slido later, guys. I removed that now. Let's see. I answered 5 questions, so only 95 more to go. Okay, let's see. We have 85 people here now. Let's grab some questions from LinkedIn. Daniel, what's up, man? Okay, let me see. We have quite a few questions. I have to scroll up a little bit, guys. Give me a sec. Suzanne, thank you very much. Yeah, too serious without music. Maybe I can bring the music back, guys. Okay. Orange Square, what's the best shopping structure for a shop with thousands of products and a lot of categories? So I kind of answered this question with the question from, I think it was Nayan, about the 500,000 different products in the feed. Yeah, that is hard because you probably don't have budget to spend on all of these products. So what you want to do here is create a segmentation and filter out products that are just not performing. So that's the initial kill those products, take them away from your campaigns. And then what remains is the best performing categories and best performing products. Now, for me, what still tends to work really well is, as I said, performance-based bucketing, where you label your products based on performance. And then based on this performance, they get a label. And based on this label, your products shift between best performing campaigns and less performing campaigns, the heroes, sidekicks, villains, and zombies. This tends to work really well, especially with products, with shops with a lot of different categories and products. But there are still more segmentations that you can create here. If you need to, if you know for a fact that, for example, I don't know, let's say you have an electronics store and you know for a fact that DJ sets outperform the rest, you could still isolate them into their own campaign. So you really need to think about your data, how much data you have, look at the performance for different categories. And I would probably, without any context of your account, I would probably choose performance-based bucketing with the heroes, sidekicks, villains, and zombies, but then also isolate other winning categories, maybe even further, like bestsellers, etc., if that helps to push the best performance even further. So hope that helps. Okay. Oh, I already did that one. Okay, Liliana, best way to scale pMax for lead generation apart from scaling bids. So what I will do is I'm going to pull up a blog from us. One sec. It's called the fire and ice structure for lead gen. So yeah, I have it. Let me share my screen. This is, well, PPC Edge issue number 77. I don't know if you have read it or not, but if you haven't, check it out, because this tells you everything you need to scale lead gen for, or pMax for lead gen, with real cases and examples. So what it comes down to is that you create two different campaigns. One that's focusing more on the bottom of funnel types of assets and people and audiences, and the other one is more so a prospecting, with that focuses more on colder traffic, broader audience signals, and you can be more aggressive with these, with your bids in this in this prospecting campaign, and you use different conversion goals for each of these campaigns. So with the fire campaign arm, you use the more high value conversion actions. So let's say the macro conversions, sales, whatever it is for your client. And then in the prospecting one, you use more of the micro conversions, like whatever it is, like book a demo, book a call, form submissions, whatever it is, guys. So check that out. Number 77, fire and ice structure, PPC Edge number 77. Okay, that was question number 7. So let me get back. Great questions, guys. Great questions. Okay, Zishan, best tips for landing page optimization. Great question. This is, man, I can go on talk about this for 2 hours, but I will also state I am not a landing page expert. But with that said, let me actually once again pull up my screen. So the best thing I can do is actually show you, take you through it. So this is the landing page for the PPC Hub. And I'll actually show you what we do here on the page. I know it looks a little bit weird with the background on the background, but bear with me. So this is our landing page, and I will deconstruct it here. We have a big opening statement that positions the PPC Hub, join the PPC Hub, and become the best Google Ad specialist you can possibly be. A little bit of explanation what's inside. Then by sheer chance, today the doors are closing, so we have created a little bit of urgency here with a countdown timer. But apart from that, we're using social proof images for the product, and then here we're calling out our ideal customers. So, are you an experienced Google Ad specialist and want to take your skills to the next level? Do you struggle to keep up? Do you want to join a community of the best Google Ad specialists who all learn and grow together? And blah blah blah. And then we show, okay, then we have created the PPC Hub for you. So we call out our ideal customer. This is why it's valuable to you. And then we go on and show social proof. We have more testimonials, like a lot of social proof. We explain the product, more social proof. Who is it for? Who is it not for? More social proof. Who built it? More social proof. And then it goes to what's inside. So what are you actually getting? All the courses, etc. Well, a lot is inside, bonuses, and then we go to the looking inside. But then we have even more testimonials, so more social proof. This is just to show people that we have real people inside helping real people. And then calling out people, are you ready to join? And then, of course, like the call to action with the offer. This is sort of, if I would create a landing page from scratch, if I would choose, then I would focus on this sort of similar conversion design. I'm by no means saying that this page is perfect. I'm sure that there's a lot we can improve. But this is sort of the structure that I would go for. And what you want to do is you want to show your product and show why it is the best solution for a specific problem, and use a lot of testimonials. If you can, try to create urgency, some scarcity, social proof, all that stuff. But I think what is setting this landing page apart from a lot of other landing pages is all that social proof. So if you scroll through, and I actually learned the importance from Justin Welsh, if you scroll through these things, yeah, then there's no denying that the product is actually good. So more social proof, more reviews, show people that you're actually a real business. So just a few tips to work with. Okay, now we have Ramiel. What's up, man? Welcome.
Hello everyone. How you doing, Miles?
Welcome on board, man. Welcome. Let me actually
Thank you.
update the amount of questions that we have answered. So, hey, Ramiel, how's it going, man? I think you have a really interesting story. We have about 30 minutes, so let's see how much we can
Sure.
dive into. But for everyone here who's here live right now, could you, yeah, just introduce yourself and maybe explain how you got into PPC and where you are now in your career, in your journey?
Sure, of course. So my name is Romeo. I'm from Manchester, England, and I've been working in PPC for about 6 years. When I graduated from uni, I actually did a web development degree. Wasn't too keen on the coding side, to be honest. I lost interest quite quickly. Joined an agency as like a PPC junior, and within a week, I was like, "Wow, this is really cool. Like, we can do all this fun, creative stuff, grow a business, manage people's money, and see sort of genuine results." So yeah, fairly quickly I realized I loved it, and sort of 3 years I worked at different agencies. First one I worked at, we actually managed about 100 accounts, which is crazy. They're all small budget, 1 hour a month sort of thing, but there was a lot. But it was good because it gave me experience with different industries, different budgets, different types of business leaders. I then sort of went to different agencies, managed some larger projects, eventually went into contracting, and then I've been freelancing for the last 3 years. And then finally joined the PPC Hub just 6 months ago.
Yeah, awesome, man. It's been really great having you, and you're one of the most active members. I see it. You're constantly helping other people. You're sharing your wins, and it's been really fun meeting you in person at the birthday bash as well. Um,
That was fun.
yeah, man, for sure. So you mentioned that you are now diving more into the AI side of marketing, right? What are you doing now
Of
with
course.
that, and how are you positioning yourself as a more so of an expert in that field?
Yeah, sure. So look, everything as part of our industry today leverages AI in the marketing side of things. We all obviously know the Google algorithm relies on AI and how we set everything up. All the data is about feeding the AI. And I've essentially tried to evolve all of my strategies around what will benefit AI, which is why I focus so much on the fundamentals. And then obviously, there is sometimes a bit of ambiguity amongst clients where they'll say something like, well, if AI is running everything, what do I need you for? And actually, I read a really good book by Frederick Valais, and that introduced three really important roles about how we as PPC specialists remain relevant in a marketing world dominated by AI. And that's essentially like sort of three different roles. One being like the pilot. So I don't know who doesn't know this, but the average pilot spends 10 to 15 minutes actually controlling a plane per flight, but we'd never fly without one. And
Yeah,
actually, the fundamental with PPC is fairly similar. A lot of it is automated today, but you still need that specialist. So I think adapting these sort of roles has been quite important in actually elevating those client relationships. And then obviously, there's the doctor role where so I imagine if we didn't have doctors and no one ever diagnosed diseases or anything. And again, similar in our sort of role, campaigns can break all the time, things can go wrong. We have to then sort of put on our white cloak, be that doctor and diagnose those issues. And then obviously being the teacher to our clients. So a lot of clients don't actually understand as well as we do. So I think educating and guiding clients on the why behind everything and how that actually benefits us and benefits the algorithm and the AI. So I think adapting those three rules have been really useful.
yeah, man. And so there's a question actually from, I can't see the name, but this would be a cool follow up. What are your top AI tools with the biggest value and connection to Google Ads, and how do you use them? I'm actually curious because yeah, from what it sounds like, you are diving really deep into AI now, so I'm curious about this as well.
Honest to God, this is going to sound cliche, but I rinse and repeat ChatGPT. It's so powerful. There isn't anything you can't do with it. Recently, I've been working on custom GPTs as well. So I've been creating like my sort of own GPTs, which will help me in my business and actually help me with delivery and that sort of stuff. So I could sit here and list a lot of AI tools for different mediums, but the one I found the absolute most useful and the one I would tell everyone to leverage as much as possible is sort of chatbots like ChatGPT or Gemini.
Yeah. What kind of custom GPT are you building now?
So I've managed to build one that automates all my client reporting. So I upload a Data Studio PDF. I give it an example report from the past, and it produces a report for me based on my writing style. And it actually analyzes the data in the PDF, which has actually saved me a lot of hours, because first week of every month is like my reporting week, if you want. So that's been really, really helpful. And I think obviously when you start to leverage these sort of AI tools and technologies, you can do things a lot quicker. And if you can do things a lot quicker, you can take on more clients, you can generate more revenue. So everything is done to obviously reduce that workload. I've also used a really cool GPT, which Geert created, which is the ad group creator. It's actually really fun to use. And yeah, honestly, it's so exciting, the potential and what you can do with it. So I would honestly recommend everyone give that a shot.
Yeah, epic, man. Is it hard to build a custom GPT? And actually, it's really hot in here, man. Let me take off my sweater 1 sec. But you can answer the question already. I can still hear
Yeah,
you.
yeah, sure, go for it. So yeah, I mean, building the custom GPT. To be honest, I don't have much coding experience. I mean, I said at the beginning, I sort of neglected that web development side of things because I didn't enjoy the coding. And actually, I've been able to create the custom GPTs without any coding experience. So the way I see it, if I can do it, then there's no reason why anyone in this session can't. It's so easy. I encourage you guys just try it, feed some prompts in, and you'll be amazed what sort of results you get.
Yeah. All right, guys. If you have any questions for Ramiel, let me know in the chat. There's actually Jos. Is your reporting GPT for sale?
I can send it to you. You
Jos
can have
from
it.
PPC
It's
Hub as
fine.
well.
I'm more than happy to share resources and stuff like that to people if it'll benefit them. So yeah, shoot me a DM and I'll send that over to you.
Very nice. Jos is actually in the PPC Hub as well, so I'm sure he could give you some feedback in exchange. That would be nice.
Of course, yeah, and yeah, if we can obviously evolve it, then that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Thomas, I haven't tried yours actually, but I would love to. So I'll reach out later.
Yeah, Thomas also created a really good custom GPT. All right, so if you have any questions, guys, about AI, but also Google Ads, anything, let's hear it. Ramiel, I know you are big into RuneScape. I think a lot of PPC specialists have actually played a lot of RuneScape. I know I have.
I think everybody has at some point.
Yeah, man, absolutely. And I told you as well, like a couple years ago, I tried to log into my account, but turns out that I got shadow banned for because I thought I was a bot, which I wasn't, which kind of sucks. So I have lost all my like progress and legacy.
Oh dear.
Yeah, but you showed me your account, and it's insane. You have all these skill capes. So I'm actually curious, like, what are the things that you have learned from a game like RuneScape that you transfer to your work as a Google Ads specialist?
Sure. So you think of a game like RuneScape, you've got what, 25 odd skills, and they all go to like level 99 or whatever, when you need a lot of experience for sort of each level up. And RuneScape's almost a game where there's always something you can do. I would say there's probably 0.1% people in the world that have completed RuneScape. So having that sort of gamification and that ability to keep on doing something new, keep on improving your character. You might have completed all 25 skills, but then there's going to be quests, there's going to be mini games. And I think it's almost similar in PPC. It doesn't matter how good you are or what your knowledge is, you can always be better. And I think playing a game like RuneScape's actually embedded that within me a little bit, because when you're playing that game, you've got these targets, you want to take it to the next level. And essentially, that's a lot of what I'm trying to do these days as well in my career. So yeah, I'd say that's really helped. And then obviously, like, RuneScape was one of those games where you'd make friends all over the world. And actually, we're going back 20 years here, where Facebook wasn't really a thing, or social media wasn't a thing. And RuneScape was that little place to go to. And I had so many. I told Mal once that I actually had a friend on RuneScape back in 2006 that's from his same city. So it's interesting. And now we're in the modern day where you can go on something like LinkedIn and be part of a community like the PPC Hub and just collaborate with people. So yeah, I'd say those are the key takeaways for me.
Yeah, that's epic, man. That's epic. So what has been the role of a community like the PPC Hub, for example, but also other communities on your professional development?
Honestly, the PPC Hub, I think when I joined, it gave me that feel of agency life again to some extent. Because when I was in agencies, it's obviously a really big team working environment. Everyone's collaborating, everyone's talking, everyone's sharing ideas. You have training sessions, you have events. And when I went into freelancing 3 years ago, I missed all of that. I sort of went from being in like a really busy environment, having lots of friends, and then just these four walls that I'm still signing today, actually. But when I joined the Hub, it sort of allowed me to have the best of both worlds. So all the benefits of being a freelancer, but then also having everything else. And honestly, it's been one of the best decisions I've made in my career so far. I'm not even saying that because the doors are closing or anything. Like, Mars, you know how sort of complimentary I am of all the resource and all the support, and how so many people can come together in such a short space of time. And I think it's like that for other communities. Like, I follow a lot of newsletters, like Adrian's newsletter and Johan's newsletter, and although they're not communities, they're still newsletters with large subscribers, and they're sort of sharing and feeding info, which again is not something I had for the first 3 years of my freelancing journey. And yeah, I wish I did, to be honest. But
yeah, no, it's cool. It's cool to hear that. You know what's the most important thing here, I think, is I actually forgot. I was going to share a few like mindset PPC like mindset success principles of the best Google Ads specialist versus the rest. I completely forgot at the beginning, just dove straight into the questions. But one of them is actually the more you give, the more you get. And you see that with you, how you operate in the PPC Hub as well. But also outside of that, this doesn't necessarily apply to the PPC Hub, but to anyone who's listening. Like in your career, it is definitely 100% true that the more that you give to others, the more that you're going to get in return, which is also why I'm doing this, sharing my stage with you, Amiel, Katarina is coming up soon, Thomas, Adrian, everyone else. It's just a lot of fun to share the stage and give, and in order you'll simply get back. And you see that with how you operate in the PPC Hub. You're sharing, like if anyone asks, like Jos, for example, basically asked you, can I buy it from you? And you just said, no, you can use it for free. And in return, you're going to get a lot of other things that are going to be beneficial for yourself. So I think that's just really important for everyone. It's just with anything in life, it's just the more you put into something, the more that you will get back.
Yeah, and I've always been one of those people that's willing to help others and willing to share my knowledge. And I don't really expect anything for it, because I think I'm a believer of what goes around comes around. If you help someone will help you one day. So I think, I would encourage people to do the same. Like, just share. Don't be afraid to share. Like, I started posting on LinkedIn just 3-4 months ago. And before that, I was quite frankly terrified of doing it. But you get past that block, and then you sort of share, and then you actually see it making an impact on people. And that's essentially what I personally do it for.
Yeah, I love it, man. All right, let's take some questions. So I'm
Sure.
actually curious what your response would be to this. Candela, how do you measure attribution? Do you have an attribution model of your own? GA4 just intend to be fair, especially for measuring social. What do you think?
Sure. So I don't have an attribution model of my own. I will sometimes use a last click model for brand new campaigns. If it's a brand new advertiser, never advertised, I use a last click model in the first couple of weeks. Ultimately, I go to a data driven model, and that's essentially all I use. But I will add a note that it's super important to make sure your conversion tracking is as accurate as possible and optimized as possible if those attribution models are going to give you the right amount of data. And you're right, GA4 isn't fair. I think these days there are a lot of discrepancies, unassigned data, and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, I think just to reiterate the point, get the conversion tracking bang on, and everything else should fall into place. But yeah, I would always recommend data driven.
Yeah, and Candela, you mentioned GA4 doesn't tend to be fair, but I think no attribution model is fair. You know, it's all, nothing is crystal clear. It's nothing is 100% accurate. Even I'm a fan of using a third-party attribution tool like Northbeam, Triple Whale, etc. I've used a lot of Northbeam personally. It's just the clients that I worked with use Northbeam, so yeah, got a lot of good insights from that. And with Northbeam, you could kind of build your own custom attribution model, which with this client gave more value to first touch placements. So more like that's going to be more mid and upper funnel. So it's going to be more quote unquote fair for social. But it was also still like a custom attribution model, and it's also not foolproof, you know. So you just need one sort of single source of truth, which you consider to be as the closest to the truth that you can get. And then, yeah, it's just to understand that no attribution model is going to be fair. Google Ads over attributes to itself, Meta over attributes to itself, even third-party attribution tools, they are, you know, using oftentimes using AI for conversion modeling, which is also not accurate. So, and the more that I, you know, build my own business, you know, with PPC Mastery, I see that conversion paths are usually super long. You cannot measure every single thing. You know, we always think as advertising specialists that someone sees an ad and they convert in 3 days, and we think that the ad was the reason that they converted. But you know, maybe in those 3 days they spoke to someone who gave them a good review of the product, and then they decided to buy it. But you cannot measure that. So it's always like there's so much more going on in attribution than just the numbers that we see in any platform.
I do sometimes like to use top conversion paths in GA4, just to add,
Yeah,
which shows you the different touch points that users went through prior to making a purchase or a lead. And yeah, if you check that out, you'll actually see that everything works together.
yeah, that's a good one. And I know from a lot of the success stories that you post, like your case studies, one of the first things that you always say is, okay, I cleaned up the conversion tracking. Could you talk about that? Like, what is your approach to, if you audit an account, for example, and you see that the conversion tracking is not good, what are the things that you try to implement as fast as possible?
Yeah, so I think first and foremost, fixing the conversion tags, using a Google tag to do the conversions. I like to look at the website and look at sales/leads and compare that to Google and make sure we've got a good level of accuracy there. And then obviously it's your fundamental stuff. Make sure your consent mode is set up. Make sure your cookie ban is working. I try to implement server-side tagging for as many clients as possible. And then, yeah, essentially just making sure those configurations are set up correctly in Google Tag Manager. That's my approach. And actually, your mastery course has actually been really helpful in that approach. Because previously, I won't lie, if we go back a year, I used to still use the Google Ads sort of tag, the Google conversion tracking sort of thing with the parameters and stuff like that. And
Right.
it actually affected the cross-channel tracking a little bit. So I think definitely use the Google tag and make sure everything else falls in place.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what kind of clients do you actually work with, or all kinds of?
Yeah, so I work with all types of businesses across sort of lead gen and e-commerce. I've got a bit of a specialty with medical clients. So I work with a lot of doctors all over the UK, online pharmacies, that sort of stuff. A few few legal clients, a lot of travel and hospitality.
Yeah.
So I'd say those are like my sort of main specialties because I've got the most experience. But I think
Yeah.
going back to my role, yeah, go on.
Yeah, no, I was going to ask, do those pharmaceutical clients give you any issues, like policy-wise?
Yeah, so I mean, Google Merchant Center is always the toughest to get around policies because you've got to follow the guidelines to an absolute T. Anywhere from titles to descriptions, having disclaimers on your website. You literally cannot miss a single thing out of the guideline because it's medical products. From a campaign perspective, I think I'd like to think I've honed in on getting ads approved and actually knowing what it takes now, just because I've done it long enough. And it always helps having a certificate. So if your client's a doctor, then getting that certificate and send it to Google.
Yeah, this is basically why I stayed away from these types of clients, because it sounds like a pain to work with sometimes.
Yeah, it isn't easy, to be fair. You will sometimes get disapproval. Ads will go down for a week, and then performance is down, then it's back into learning. So yeah, it's definitely tough. But I think if you do work with these sort of clients, just try and find the methodology that works really well for you, and just rinse and repeat that, and yeah, you should be fine. And you'd be surprised, like Google support can be helpful as well sometimes.
Yeah, with getting approvals.
Yeah, I think so. I think every time I've contacted them for my medical specific clients, I've been really clear. These are qualified doctors. They're CQC registered. They're all the sort of things they need. And I just made it crystal clear. This ad is disapproved. Can you tell me why? And I think you can try and have that collaborative conversation with a Google rep. They might actually find it useful.
Yeah.
Although I do get a lot of calls all the time, which are not useful. So it really depends.
In the middle of the night.
Yeah. Oh God. I woke my wife up that day. She was like, "Your phone's buzzing up. Your phone's buzzing at 4 a.m. How is this?" I was like, "It's just a Google rep."
No way. Oh my God.
Yeah. Oh well.
All right. So we have another question. Would you suggest using automated videos for Performance Max? If so, will it not affect the brand? Also, do you think pMax takes a lot of let's skip that. That's 2 questions. The first one, what are your thoughts on automated videos in pMax?
So automated videos, meaning if you don't upload a video, then Google will create you one. Yeah. I will always avoid that simply because the video Google will create you will be like a PowerPoint presentation that you might do in high school or something. And it's not going to be an effective creative to advertise on YouTube. You got to remember, like, YouTube's full of ads, it's full of videos, and you got a few seconds to capture someone's attention. So I actually like to create videos. I like animated videos because they're a lot easier and cheaper to create, especially for the smaller clients. Yeah. But yeah, I'd say definitely to make a video that's brand specific and gets that messaging across to the target audience.
Yeah. Actually, this weekend, my nephew was watching a kid show on YouTube, and he got an ad, and it was I could 100% see that it was auto-generated pMax video, and it was so bad, dude. It was like the worst.
Something we did in like primary school, maybe.
Exactly.
With where and all the things flying in.
Exactly. With the cheesy music. Cheesy music in the background. Well, as a follow-up to that from Violetta, how do you create the videos? Do you run videos for clients at all?
Yeah, so I work with contractors to create them, and they'll use video softwares to put those together. So like some of them use Adobe Premiere Pro if it's going to be live video footage or sort of images. If it's animated, I'm not entirely sure what software they use, but the results are generally quite cool. So yeah, I don't create them myself. I think if I managed all those clients and created the videos, I'd be tired all day. But yeah, I think, look, what I would say to people is these little other add-on things like videos and little bits and bobs, you can always find people to do that for you, and there might be a margin there for you too.
Yeah. All right. Long question. Let me read it out for you. Yeah. What do you do when, Susan, what do you do when an account is solid, steady, and well performing? Fundamentals are there and some epic stuff is tested. Clients always want bigger, better, louder. Every year, higher targets. Sometimes it just feels like you reach the top and can't do more big stuff, only keep on going in the good flow. What's your view on this? I'm actually curious about your view because from most of the case studies that you posted recently in the PPC Hub, you mentioned that the first step was always like cleaning up the fundamentals, and then after that you test more of the advanced experiments. But what in this case, if a client is just, you feel like you're already doing everything, but the client's just like, no, we've got to do more and more and more.
So I think I can give you a real life example for this. So one of my clients, they've sort of scaled their advertising to like 5 figures, and they've got to a stage where they want more. They just want to keep growing. And it gets to a stage where your impression share is nearly maxed out and you're getting a lot of volume, a lot of leads. And I think some of the conversations that I try to have with clients is, especially with it being lead gen or even if it's shopping, to look at different services or products that perhaps we're not already covering. So you work with a lot of businesses, there will be those opportunities. But then I look at how we can expand that market share. So opportunities to improve the market share. Your search impression share will come down a little bit, but you'll get more visibility. So that can be anywhere from increasing your targeting, adding in more audiences, widening out your location search. But just make sure you experiment it. I wouldn't do everything as all at once. It's all about testing and stuff. But I think definitely branching out and expanding that overall strategy in the targeting.
Yeah. And also if you see that, if you really think that it is too ambitious and not like reasonable, that the client is just has these targets, challenge them on it and say, yeah, we're already maximizing bottom of funnel. There's only so much more that we can do with Google Ads. If we do want to grow, as you said, we need to branch out and focus on mid funnel, upper funnel, but that's going to cost you, and usually takes more time, more money to grow. I had a client that was at this point, and then they just decided, okay, we've maxed out performance marketing. Now we're going to do TV, and then they just did TV commercials, which is had a big impact for them as well, for the brand, but it's only for the really big advertisers.
Yeah, could even do press releases as well and that sort of stuff.
Nice.
But yeah, Susan, what I would say is just to manage those expectations with the clients, be super data driven. I like using the performance planner as well on Google, because that sometimes gives you cool insights. But yeah, I think communication is key with that one.
Yeah. Okay, Ramil, one final question here is,
of course,
he actually mentioned it specifically to you. So how do you effectively implement retargeting strategies for healthcare clients? Because there's some other people that asked about this as well. It might be against policy.
So yeah, definitely building a marketing funnel here to get that remarketing. There will be policy issues, but you've just got to make sure your creatives are fully compliant, and that usually means them just being a little bit boring. But I think, yeah, to answer that question, I would just say build your marketing funnel, make sure your top of funnel, middle of funnel, and your bottom of funnel is all sort of set in stone. I work with some of my clients to do email marketing to their existing customers to branch out, and then obviously build out audience lists for sort of different touch points, whether it's all users, checkouts, leads, engaged visits, and retarget to those using either display or demand gen. You can actually do videos for medical clients, so you will need to do image ads instead. But yeah, I think those would be good strategies for you, Abdul.
Awesome. Susan said her thank you, so that's great.
No
hey, Ramil, thanks for coming on. I have Thomas here.
No problem.
Right now. It was great.
Hey guys.
Let me actually. Yo, man.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I learned a lot as well, actually, myself. Ramil, you're still on, man. You're still on.
Okay. I thought it was okay.
It's gone. No, I learned a lot about healthcare things as well.
Nice
so that's
Hi,
awesome.
Thomas.
Yeah.
Thank you.
One final thing, Ramil.
Sure.
Do you have a question for Thomas?
Can you please send me your custom GPT?
Yeah, we'll send it. Yeah, sure. No
I'm sure we'll have a conversation at some point, Thomas, and
yeah, but it's
maybe
cool
a
that you
feedback
also
or
created
something.
one. Like I'm always discovering more custom activities. Like I did mine in November 23, so it's really big now. And you will see the more people use it, the better we get. So it's really cool because it learns like it always learns what from the chats, and yeah, it's really cool. But yeah,
I do have one other question. So so I have one last question, Thomas. So obviously you're super active on LinkedIn and you've grown your network a lot. You're posting great content every day. What are your key takeaways, not just for me, but perhaps the people watching, and how you got from 0 to 50K, is it?
Yeah, almost 50K. Yeah, it's, I think, consistency. I always say it. If you're consistent, you will get far. So for me, I think in the beginning, it was a bit like I was maybe a bit shy to post. Like you said before, you started 2-3 months ago, and you like, I think the first post is the most important one to go ahead. And and then I mean, you need to also see what people like, where people engage, what is interesting for your audience group on LinkedIn. And but I think once you more or less know what works, you just go by every week, every day, whatever your time frame is, and be consistent. Because if you once stop, then it's really hard to go back again and really do again the first post after the pause. So yeah, I think just do it consistently and you will grow.
Consistency.
So I think that's also math.
Thank you for that.
Awesome.
No problem.
Great.
Hey, Ramil, thanks for coming on, man. And
thanks, Ramil.
Thank you, Miles. And thank you everyone for watching and listening. And see you guys around.
See you, man.
Ciao.
Take care.
All right. Thomas Etchel, welcome, man. Welcome.
Here we are, Miles.
Yeah, man.
How are you?
Back live. I'm doing great, man. How are you?
Nice. All good. Yeah. So, guys, we did together the podcast of Miles of PPC Mastery. That was the last time we saw each other on the camp.
Yeah.
And it's really good to see you again, man.
Yeah, likewise, man. Always a pleasure talking to you. So, yeah, you mentioned the podcast. The new season is launching tomorrow, which is awesome. The first episode with John Moran. Your episode is all about demand gen. I think is launching in 6 weeks or so. That's going to be that's going to be super valuable to people as well. But today, Thomas, just a little casual chat, and then let's get some questions from the chat. See what people have for you. But before that, I also asked Ramil, could you maybe give a little bit of background on how you started in PPC, where you are now in your career, and what type of clients you're working with?
Yes, sure. So I started back in 2019. I started my whole Google Ads career in the support. So I was a Google Ads support agent. I got a training from Google for the first month about Google Ads, like an intensive training. I didn't know much about Google Ads back in 2018. So in 2019, I started. And after the training, you got an exam from Google. And once you passed it, you could go on the floor and be live as a Google Ads agent. So I started with a small client. I think they were called SMM, small, medium, something clients from Google. So I was, there was like the typical retailer, maybe 100 euro monthly budget, who called the Google Ads support or chatted in or sent an email and said, hey, my campaigns are not working. What did I do wrong? Or my coupon code is not working. Why the heck? I want my money back. Things like that. So a bit, you had to deal with a lot of clients, a lot of different clients. Also, you needed to show a lot of empathy, obviously, because people go there because they have a problem and you need to solve it. Then slowly, I saw so many accounts because I was 3 months there. And then I went to the LCS, Google Ads accounts. So that's like the large customer sales of Google Ads. And there I was for another 4 months Google Ads support agent, but for the big accounts of Europe. And there, obviously, the whole questions were way more technical. So it's like more or less that our level that we have, because big agencies would call the Google Ads support because they tried everything to solve the problem, tried everything already, and they don't know anymore what to do. So you have to come in place and help them out. So obviously it was a huge, it's also a huge responsibility, and you need to know a lot of things, because sometimes on the phone you need to solve the case maybe in 2 hours, in 2 minutes, or if you don't solve the case, obviously you take it offline and then do your research. You have obviously a Google ad specialist inside Google, so in-house, that you can chat with them. They're called SME, subject matter experts. And they will help you out on different matters. And then after 1 day, you can contact again the client and say, hey, I have the ad is running again, or the campaign is working again, whatever. And so I started there. And after, in total, that was 8 months. And then I went to the Google Ads optimization team, still with LCS, the large customer sales segment. And there I was working on recommendations, so on the Google Ads recommendations, where we had to scrap them. We had to provide value, because we know the recommendations were not good. So we needed to optimize the recommendation, the output, and then send it to the account manager. And that was obviously funny, because you saw that add new keywords, for example, as recommendations normally is not good. The keywords are not accurate. And for example, keywords was just one part. Then we did comprehensive audit for accounts. We did ad optimization. So all kind around Google Ads, how you can optimize. We created the output and sent it to account manager. That was normally in Dublin or in Germany. And I was there for 2 years. 2 years. I did optimization for 2 years. And then I moved to the agency. So right now, my agency in Switzerland. I'm in Madrid, living in Madrid. I'm from Italy. So it's a bit of a mess. But exactly. I'm working for all kind of verticals, also medical, as Remiel before said. He does e-com, a lot of e-com, big e-com clients in Switzerland, lead gen also, B2B, B2C. So since I'm in an agency, so you have all kind of colorful brands and clients out there. But that's now I'm here. 3 years after that, I'm here. So in total, more than 5 years in Google Ads. Awesome. 8 hours a day.
That's cool, man. So let's get some questions. And this is an interesting one. I'm actually curious about your thoughts as well. What are some proactive strategies you recommend a freelancer without a strong personal brand to use to get new clients besides referrals or word of mouth? And maybe also, like a second part of that question, I know you're still working at an agency, as you said, but you are building your personal brand. Maybe a first question could be, what has that done for you? Because a lot of people use their personal brand to get freelance clients. Maybe for you, that's a little bit different, but you still decided to build it up anyway. So why did you decide to do that? And what has it done for you and your career so far?
I think I never decided to do it. It just happened somehow, because you start posting and then you see your follower grow, your content gets better, engagement rises, you get also new people to know virtually, but whatever. And I think it just happened. I never planned to have almost 50K followers on LinkedIn. I didn't even know so many PPC specialists are around on LinkedIn in the beginning, I have to say.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I think for me it helped kind of get, since I have my clients in the agency in Switzerland, and sometimes if they stalk me on LinkedIn, they get like shocked and say, what the fuck? So that gives me also trust, I would say, that I have with my clients, because they know that when I deliver, like what I deliver should be fine, because I share a lot about Google Ads, I show a lot of strategies. So I think it helps me to get more trust with the client. Also, it helped me if I have a problem or something I don't know and I don't want to go to the Google Ads support. I have a community on LinkedIn I can always ask. So there are a lot of people behind me that I can ask. And I think, the sense of community is really big in the PPC PPC world for us. So it helps me to get sometimes accurate answers. It helps me to build trust with my clients. and yeah, and it's obviously fun also to do it.
Yeah, super nice, man. I would say to this question, proactive strategies for freelance to get clients. I think the most important thing is just build your personal brand on LinkedIn. In my opinion, it's the most powerful platform there is right now, especially for organic, because your posts can get so much reach if you compare it to Twitter or Facebook or Instagram. It's kind of how Facebook used to be back in the day, when you just post and you get a lot of organic reach and the posts get spread. I think LinkedIn is even next level compared to that, because your posts, they can get a lot of, some traction in the beginning, but then 2-3 days later it can just still explode. And most channels is just you post once and 6 hours the post is gone forever. And with LinkedIn, it's just it's insane how much reach you can get. Plus, a lot of clients are also on LinkedIn, actively using it themselves. So you can easily get your post in front of your ideal customers. So I think nothing beats LinkedIn, except for referrals and word of mouth. It's probably the most powerful thing that you can have. But building up an inbound lead generation system through LinkedIn, I think is just the best thing you can do for yourself as a freelancer.
Exactly. And I think the last time in the LinkedIn growth webinar with Adrian, I think we also talked about this. There were like two kind of LinkedIn posts that you can do. One is the post for the PPC specialists, where you say, hey, I have a new strategy. Hey, I have news. Something came out. pMax reporting came out, blah, blah, blah. And then there is the other part that it's the client targeting post, where you talk about like case studies that you did, something that worked for your client, where you actively talk to a specific audience, CEO, business owners, and there you can get really fast new clients. So you need to know more or less where is your content really bucketing in. Is it more for the PPC specialist, about value, about professionalism, about a lot of specific terms in Google Ads, or is it about showing performance, showing results that will more resonate with CEOs and business owners on LinkedIn? So when you know those two buckets, then it's pretty easy.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so for everyone who's still here now, if you have a question for Thomas or for me, just drop it in the chat. We can talk about anything like you want: Google Ads, demand gen, LinkedIn, whatever it is. Here's a question from Dana. What specific data? So this is, I think, about Mike Rhodes' pMax script. Before I go into the question, are you actually using that? Do you use that for your accounts for pMax?
Yes, I use it.
Yeah, it's a must use, right? So how do you use that script is basically the question. What data do you look at when analyzing what the script is giving you? How do you use that, Thomas?
So the first thing I normally check out is obviously on which platform does my pMax spend. So I want to know the percentage splits. Is it search, shopping, display, video? So I need to know more data about my campaign. Obviously, I want to see if it's more like, if it's a lot of display, it might be a lot of remarketing. If it's a lot of search, probably also do a normal search campaign. If it's not a lot of shopping and you're e-com, you should normally do something about it, because shopping normally is a really good channel for your e-com account. So first of all, you need to know where does it spend. So that's like the first unveil that the Mike Rhodes pMax gives you. And then obviously I try to see if there is too much display spend. I try to reduce, for example, my image assets in the pMax. If there is too much YouTube spend, I try to reduce my videos and so on. And if I see that almost, like, let's say only 40% of the spend goes on shopping, I try to consider doing a pMax feed only campaign, obviously, because I want to have 100% shopping traffic also. So that's the first thing. Then second, I want to see also like conversion split and click split, for example, on different platforms. So where does my conversion comes from? If I see obviously that shopping has the double of conversion than the rest of the platforms, pMax feed only might be again a good choice. So I think those two levers gives you a lot of insights already, and then obviously you can always jump into more detailed reporting, like as a group or asset level. in the micro script, and he also updates it a lot. So you normally, if you install the new script, you always have new levers and new optimizations that can be done. But yeah, but it's a good
awesome,
question.
man. Yeah, it is. It's I think this script is just too valuable, and it has to be used for every pMax campaign. And for me, the most important metric that you get from is just the spend per channel. That has been from the beginning. Has been so powerful to know.
Really important.
Yeah, and I've had a lot of cases where all of a sudden pMax is just spending like crazy, and you don't really know what's going on. And then you check the script, and you have a really big spike in video traffic, for example. And these types of things really help with deciding what the next step is going to be for your pMax campaign.
Yeah. I saw in the beginning, I think in the beginning I saw a question about demand gen, where somebody said if it's really worth it, and then somebody responded it's really expensive, and then the clicks doesn't match up with my users on GA4. I don't know who asked that. If that person is still in the chat, can repost it, but I can jump on that question, because that's something I hear a lot, and I also saw it the last time in the PPC hub. The same questions: why does my clicks not add up with the clicks I have in GA4? And that's like a really common question right now for demand gen, because people say, hey, I have 100 clicks, my CPC is 0.50, but I only have 20 users on my landing page. What's going on here, Google? So yeah, I can jump on that question because I think it's really important. Yeah, that's it.
Found it.
Yeah, nice. So the answer here, I did a post once on LinkedIn about it, and I think I tagged also Jeannie from Google. And after my post, there came a new support page online about exactly that matter from Google Ads, and they mentioned that this could be a possible tracking issue, but it's not. I know that's normal jargon that Google can use to add up or like make up any solution, but it's not really a tracking issue, because what I saw is that clicks for demand gen campaigns, they include kind of like engagement clicks on the ad. An engagement clicks can be like around the ad, or clicks that are not directly linked to the final URL. For example, if you are on YouTube, the home feed, and you want to scroll through videos, you get a lot of demand gen ads. Those are the little images where if you click, you get redirected to the YouTube video of the demand gen campaign. And I think that many people click on that, and that's a click. But what happens is you get redirected to the video of the YouTube video of the demand gen campaign, and not on the landing page. So, and since I also did now analysis tomorrow, my post is online about it, how to optimize the demand gen campaigns based on the different placements, ad placements, in feed, shorts, and so on. And I saw that almost all, like 90% of all demand gen spend is normally on in feed. So meaning that it makes sense, because if your in-feed ad is on the homepage and somebody clicks, you only get to the video. And all those clicks are not showing then in GA4. So I think that's the answer to it, and it's not a tracking issue, as Google said, but it's clicks on the ad that goes directly to the YouTube video and not to the landing page. So that should be the answer, Sane, I hope. Maybe Google will say something more official about it someday, but for now, I think that's the problem that we have.
Yeah.
So that means that your CPC on demand gen is not accurate. And I also did once a post about how you could do it. So you could either import page views as conversions. So every page view conversion is 1 click actually, and then you calculate cost divided by the page clicks, for example. And then your CPC, or you just get the percentage. For example, if you have 100 clicks in Google Ads and 20 on GA4, it's 20% the rate. So you take your CPC and multiply by 0.2. So you have a new CPC calculation. But that's another topic. I could talk so much about that. Let's keep that for the rest for another day. But yeah.
No, that's
So
great,
that's
man.
an issue with Google, but yeah,
Yeah.
it is how it is.
All right, we're getting more demand gen questions now. That's great. Let's get some demand gen questions in here, guys. Yeah. Would you recommend for a short-term period, 1 month, a demand gen campaign or pMax? It's seasonal traffic where search volume declines after that time.
Yeah, so if the account is already running, like if you have always on campaigns where you have, let's say, minimum 30 conversion in the last 30 days, your account level conversion tracking is already, let's say, quite good. So you could do it. You could run a pMax or demand gen campaign for 1 month. I would say I recommend more pMax because demand gen needs a bit more time normally, and normally you don't have so much daily budget on it. So I think pMax I would recommend more. But yeah, only if you really have current conversion data on other campaigns. If the account is new or it was paused for the last month, I would not really recommend it because the learning phase is too long. So you might get two weeks really bad conversion, and then maybe the last 2 weeks you got good one. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, I think you need to understand the differences between demand gen and pMax, where I think the core of Performance Max is that it's sort of specializes in. Are you still here? Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, it lagged on my end, I think. But with pMax, the main goal of the campaign type is to get as many conversions as possible, which is usually bottom of funnel and targeting existing customers, generally speaking, or not existing customers, like returning traffic, more warmer traffic. Whereas demand gen is a completely different engine, which is focused more on the mid funnel. I guess not per se upper funnel, but more so mid funnel placements, right? So could you, off the top of your head, what are the placements that you can get with demand gen? YouTube display.
You can get YouTube Shorts, Gmail, Discovery, in-feed video. Those are
exactly
the biggest.
So there's no search, no shopping, and this is what you have in Performance Max. And even with pMax, yes, you can get those other placement types like YouTube, display, etc. But then it will usually go for remarketing on those placements. But again, like there's no context. We have no context of the business. It's really hard. Like maybe even the best choice would be neither of these two. Maybe the best choice would be search shopping and some dynamic remarketing maybe. But yeah, if you put a gun to our head and you say demand gen or pMax, then it still depends on your goals and what you're trying to accomplish. But there is a distinction between these two campaign types. It's not like you choose demand gen or pMax. They can also work together to reach your goals.
Exactly.
Alexius, but on demand gen you can add the merchant center. But yes, this is for shopping ads on YouTube placements, right?
Yes, exactly. You can put the shopping feed on demand gen campaigns. That's possible. I mean, that's the same as in pMax.
Yeah, but then this basically uses it for not on the shopping network, right?
No, exactly. No. We never, like, demand gen never spends on shopping, Google Shopping. Yeah. That's pMax and standard shopping.
Yeah, but good point.
But you can have, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. What else do we have? Has demand gen, is it working well for you in terms of conversions or more so in terms of awareness, branding?
So I use normally only for conversions. And if it doesn't work, I let it go, let it slide. Because I've seen it really work well on conversions if you know how to optimize and where to optimize. I think by default, it's not such a good campaign type. We all know it, right? It can be really costly. It's also new, so I think Google, the data pool that Google has is not that good yet. So I think it's not the easiest campaign type, and this might not work for all of us. But like I tried to, I told it in the webinar and the podcast for Miles also, I tried to, once the demand gen campaign type came out, I tried to document all optimizations that I did and what I found also on LinkedIn, because I wanted to stay really close to that campaign type in order to get the most out of it in the fastest way. So by default, it normally doesn't work. It's not such a good campaign type. But if you really optimize all the levers that we have, I also have a demand gen playbook for basics that I launched. That it's also written. Normally you can get good results with a CPA bidding strategy. Target is really hard to achieve because it gets unlocked way later. So target CPA might be your friend here. But yeah, you really need to optimize a lot and really need to understand what to optimize. But yeah, by default, I think it's really hard to get conversions. Maybe that's by default, it's maybe a branding mid-funnel campaign, but it really needs a lot of fine-tuning. But I hope that in the futures, and when Google has more data and more conversion data combined on demand gen campaigns, because normally I think they try to store somehow the data anonymously, I think the conversions will get better. But for now, it's quite new, so we need to really optimize manually everything that we can. Obviously, it's automated campaign type, but there are some levers that we can tune. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Alexius, I see you have a follow-up, another question. Do you want me to pull it up? Yes or no? Let me know, because it may be too personal for your situation. But if it's okay, I will put it on the screen. Just let me know. Okay, Nitin. If you have to start small ads for small local businesses in the UK, USA, but location doesn't really matter, what kind of campaigns would you suggest in order of priority? And while you answer, Thomas, I'm going to take a quick 15-second break to go to the bathroom, but you can start with the answer.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, Nitin. I would, like some years ago, I would have said local campaigns, but obviously they are not available anymore. They got merged together with pMax, unfortunately. So for you, I would say the first choice I would go with is search campaigns, where you can try to get the local feature inside in like how you can combine your keywords together with, for example, your city. Then you have this local aspect of a search campaign. If your example, I don't know what you're selling. Let's say if you sell books, then I would do a search campaign for books. And then, if, for example, if you're in New York, I would say buy books in New York. So you have a local aspect in a search campaign, and that normally gives you a higher conversion rate. So that normally works well. And yeah, I think as a second type, I think it's hard because I don't know any aspect, how much budget and target audience, whatever. But what you normally, if it's a e-com, obviously you do shopping. If you have a shopping feed, you do shopping together with search. That normally is the best choice. And then as the search, you can do dynamic remarketing, display 7 days, dynamic remarketing 30 days. And then you're normally well off. If you have a high budget, if you have always on campaigns, you can always consider going on pMax to try it. I mean, you always need to test to check it out if it works for you. Yeah, but if you're e-com, do search and shopping, and then display if you still have budget. If you're not a e-com, do search and try also do some remarketing. Yeah. That's my suggestion.
Well, I trust that was a great answer. I think so.
I hope.
Yeah, man. When it's no, 100%. When you're live, it's I'm actually happy that more people are here now, because then sometimes you just got to take a quick bathroom break. Can't really finesse through that. Okay, one final question before I pull Adrian on. This is Alexius, his follow-up question. He said that you've really motivated him to post, so that's great. But he mentioned he's also working at Google now. How hard was it to move from being a Google Ads rep to working at an agency? And how hard was it to find one, since I'm feeling it is a bit hard without practicing other platforms?
Yeah. So yeah, I was never a rep. I was an agent. So I always say that because we obviously know what reps are. I was a Google Ads support agent, and then I went to optimizing. And for me, I think I was quite lucky because for my background, I'm from Italy. I'm from the north of Italy, where we speak German too. And since I speak native German, it was quite, I think, easier for me to get approached by agencies who were like German or Swiss agencies who look for German speakers in Google Ads, where there are not so many, I would say, around. I saw it also at Google that they were always looking for German agents and things like that. So I think for me, I was lucky about the language. Yeah. And then it was just one message on LinkedIn, and that's it. Then I changed. Obviously, the whole process, but it started like this.
Yeah. Plus, I think if you have, oh, go ahead.
Sorry, just one more. Obviously, the work was really different because in the Google Ads support, I was really, or in the optimization at Google, I was really having my like structured work every day. You had to present, had to do the case, had to solution offer, and then in the agency, you got your own clients and you try to manage all of it together. And so obviously, the way of working was really different, but I think once you're used to it, it's quite easy to adapt.
Yeah, and plus I think if you're don't really know if you can get an agency job, people are always looking for good talent. And if you have worked at Google for, let's say, 1 or 2 years, you have a really solid foundation in Google Ads. And if you are eager to learn, and if you have, good problem solving skills and stuff like that, then you're going to be super beneficial to any agency. And I think it's a big plus if you move from Google to the agency side, because you have seen Google from the inside, and
exactly.
It's just valuable to. And I think Google people who get hired at Google are always, at a certain level of competency and intelligence, because they screen for that.
Yeah.
So I think it's a big plus if you have that experience under your belt. Okay, we have Adrian.
Hi guys.
How you doing?
Hey man. Yes, loud and clear, man. Loud and clear. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm fine, man. How are you?
Yeah, all great, man. All great.
All good, yeah.
Thomas, thank you for coming on.
Thank
you for coming on.
Thanks, guys.
I will ask you the same that I asked Ramil. Do you have a question for Adrian to begin with?
Ciao.
Sorry. One question for Adrian. One question for Adrian. Okay. How do you manage to post so much on LinkedIn while being maybe on the gym even?
Yeah, it's just building up. Like I always say, start slow, and then it just grows. And then it's so easy to just post things from that moment on if you just keep growing in it. But yeah, I just have a different strategy to yours, of course. You have way longer articles with more tips inside it, and I'm just known for more quick posts. So for me, it's way easier. And if you would do that, for example, you would change your positioning a bit. So I think for you, it's harder to be really quick with posts, and maybe if we see the same update, I would be faster. But then if you look at your content, I think somebody would learn maybe more. So it's just different. We're just doing different things, but in the same field.
Yeah, nice. Also seeing Max here. Hey, Max.
Yeah, man. Shout out, Max.
The boys.
Max.
Max, are you still in Madrid?
Thomas.
It's so hot here, right?
Oh man, it must be so hot in the summer now. What's the temperature?
Well, it's crazy, man. It's crazy in Madrid. Wow, normally it's like 38, 39 every day. Now it's maybe 37.
Oh, much better.
36.
Jeez. Damn, dude.
All right.
Insane. Well, thanks for coming,
Bye.
And enjoy your day.
Have a great day, man. Bye.
Ciao.
See ya.
You too.
Ciao.
Okay, Adrian, welcome, man. Welcome.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Anytime. Max said he's in London at the moment.
Cool.
Good stuff. So Adrian,
Just
yeah,
yeah.
go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, just watch out, Max, in London.
Yeah, don't get shipped, mate.
Don't wear a nice watch.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I think London is such a nice city, but they have such a big problem.
Yeah, the same.
It's too bad because I only went there once. It's such an epic, like, big city, but it's the same with the US, but they have like knife problems instead of gun problems.
Yeah, I would prefer a knife than bullets, but still a problem.
But hey, but that's a different conversation, man. That would also suck. But no, hey, welcome, man. I think you don't need too much of an introduction, but for those of you, there are some people maybe here who don't know who you are. Could you maybe explain real quick, like, who you are and where you are in your Google Ads career right now, and what type of clients you work with?
Yeah, sure. I'm a Google Ads freelancer. Shock on the PPC Mastery podcast. Besides Google Ads, I also post a lot on LinkedIn. Some people might know me from the newsletter or just the constant updates that I share about Google Ads. I've been doing Google Ads for around 5.5 years, and I've been posting actively for 2.5 years, maybe now. I work with clients all over the world in different categories. It can be B2B, B2C, small budgets, big budgets. It does not matter. And in those fields, I do different tasks, like maybe I will do an audit, coaching, but I can also do active management, implement tags, implement tag manager, for example, look into Google Analytics 4, but also just give some tips on the website in general, what can be done better, for example. So that's just a real quick summary of what I've been doing over the past years.
Yeah, awesome, man. So what would you give as advice to people who are looking to improve their Google Ads skills? Where where can you begin? What are some things that you have done in your career to elevate your level?
So the first thing to begin is really, because people ask this question a lot, and I will tell them, just go to the skill shop and start learning the basics, right? That you need to know the basics, and the skill shop is free. I know it can be boring, so make it a bit fun for yourself. For example, don't work 8 hours on it. Maybe work 1 hour per day on it. And then, for example, if you want to do Google Ads for somebody, you can do it even for free in the beginning, just to start, or just create a dummy account, right? Just to look into it. Of course, Google Ads does not have a dummy account. You can just open one, but Google Analytics 4 has one, for example. So that's really where I should start. And then later on, when you have that foundation, you can work in accounts, or you can just look into YouTube videos. And then when you start to make a bit of money, you can invest in courses, of course. Or if you already have some money incoming because you're already doing or you're already having a job, for example, you can already invest. But the foundation is really key, because I have a lot of clients that will ask me things, and I can directly answer them because I know the foundation. So, for example, they would ask me, "Oh, I have two campaigns. Are they not bidding against each other, right?" Or, yeah, all those, or the auction insights, for example. Those are all the basics you should know, and from those basics, you should learn further in the field, and then you should do courses, and of course, handle accounts yourself. And in the beginning, maybe work for free or for less money, and later on, when everybody keeps saying yes to your services, start increasing your price.
Interesting. Do you, in terms of increasing price, that's an interesting point. Do you also increase price for existing clients, or then just for the next one you increase the price, if you decide to increase it, of course?
Normally for the next one, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Normally
harder
for the next
to
ones.
it's harder to convince existing clients for higher prices, right?
Yeah, that's way harder.
Cool. So for anyone that is here right now, if you have any questions for Adrian, let us know. Can be LinkedIn, can be Google Ads, anything in between. this is always. Oh wait, Alexius, how do you manage to send all those things and scripts and DMs when people give you like the comments? I also think like how the hell do you do this? But
So I get some help on the side from my little brother, to be
nice,
honest.
nice.
But I still do a lot of things myself. I just created the system where I will just open all the reactions, and then I will just say done to all the first ones, and I will open them directly in a new tab, and we'll send it directly. And to the other people, I will just say, please add me or send me a message so that I can send it, because otherwise I cannot send it to them, because you only have a few emails per month. And yeah, that's just basically how I do it. And then I have a tab with all the URLs that I have open, and then I have the links behind them, and I will just check them every night or every morning, and I will work that away. Then after maybe 2 weeks, I will close it, so you cannot comment anymore, because otherwise I need to check up a lot of things. And really, after 1.5 weeks, normally you will not see a lot of comments anymore. But it's basically just a lot of work, to be honest. But the more you grow, the more it becomes worth it to do it. So yeah, it's still good to do it. And I think my growth, I was already growing fast. I think at around 50K I started doing this comment stuff, and normally I would get 100, 150 a day minimum, and now maybe 250, for example, 300.
Yeah.
But then also LinkedIn starts removing bad accounts or something, because I don't know what's happening, or their account does not is not correct. Because if I will look at all the people that would add me over the month, and I would just count that number to my new followers, it does not match up. So they're doing something there.
Bots?
It could be, or just accounts that are inactive after some time. I really have no idea, to be honest. I'm not seeing a lot of bots, but it's just the count does not make sense.
Right. Well, I just want to zoom in on one thing that you said. Like, if you're growing, it's worth it. I think a lot of people see with LinkedIn and stuff like this, like, how are you doing all these things? But I think if it's worth doing, then it's worth doing well, and your growth speaks for itself, you know. And I think a lot of people tend to forget that everything requires hard work, you know, whether it is Google Ads or growing on LinkedIn or building a business, whatever. Everyone just wants to, get clients on LinkedIn really fast without any effort. And those posts tend to go viral from other creators as well, where they say, yeah, I did one post and I got 53 leads from it and whatever. But it is hard work, man. You're doing a lot of unscalable things, but that is why Adrian has grown so fast and so much. So yeah, it's just, that's just the way it is. And sometimes you have to do these things. I'm not willing to do, send these DMs every single day, which is why I'm also not unlocking that growth that maybe I could, So yeah, that's an important one. All right, let's see. Ramil, how do you schedule what you're going to post? Do you have a content calendar to help you manage this, or something else?
No, not really. I will just see what happened the day before or during that day, or I will just come up with ideas. It's really natural at this moment. So sometimes I will plan it if it's too much. For example, I'm like, okay, it's better to post maybe 2 hours later a post, or 3 hours later. But not really. It's really natural at the moment. So yeah, things are happening all the time, every day. And yeah, I also have evergreen content that I can always use, and I have a big database of evergreen content. So yeah, I could make post for a year if I wanted to.
Yeah, cool. Let's move on to a few Google Ads questions if you're up for it.
Yeah, sure.
So Michaela, I think someone else, also Alex, wanted to get this answered. I'm stuck with some of my current campaigns that seem to be stuck in limited by search volume. Do you have any other advice in just implementing broad match? These campaigns, both brand and non-brand, were spending well 3 to 4 months ago.
Yeah, so my first question would be, why not add broad match or test with broad match in an experiment? You could also just do that, for example. Maybe you already have done that, but you could also just start adding other phrase match or exact keywords to see if that's doing something right. But I would do one of those two then, to be honest.
Yeah.
Discrepancies both brand and non-brand. Yeah, we're spending well, and now they're not spending. I would also look into what happened. Is it seasonality or something? Because I've seen some seasonality because it's now summer, and 3-4 months ago it was another period. So I've seen some things changing for a few clients, and other clients, they just have the same base the whole year. But for others, it's just 20-30% less traffic, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Especially in the summer where it can be really slow. Okay, well, Michaela, Alex, I hope that was useful. If not, just send a follow-up question. And for anyone else, if you have a question, just drop it. Sam, great content so far. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Would appreciate either of your insights on how to navigate client concerns on GDPR and privacy policies when it comes to enhanced conversions. What's your take? How do you usually handle these types of conversations, Adrian, with clients when it comes to more of the legal stuff?
So first of all, with the cookie policy, for example, you already need to look at the website, of course, if they have cookies installed, if they have installed enhanced conversions. So if it's not the case, I would explain what is the upside of those things. And I would also explain that, for example, enhanced conversions is a bit of a gray area. I think you can use it, right? But some people say no, you can't use it. I think for the moment, if Google is providing it to us, it's still legal, but it's a bit of a gray area where some people are saying that you cannot use it. I will always tell that honestly, like, okay, I think it's legal. I mean, Google is offering the service, but also you are not responsible for their GDPR, I think. So you need to, of course, say to them that they need to have a cookie banner, for example. But at the end of the day, if they do not want to have a cookie banner, make sure you have good general terms, right? That you're not responsible for that.
Yeah. Plus, also, I think with clients, you need to be careful that with every time I talk about GDPR with my clients, etc., I say, yeah, okay, but this is not legal advice. I'm just saying what I can as a Google Ad specialist. But if you really want to be sure, you have to consult with a legal specialist, because otherwise, whatever you say could potentially be used against you. And I've never had any issues on that regard, but I always try to, cover up for myself by saying something like, okay, consult with the legal specialist.
And that's why I'm saying you need to have general terms, right? If you make an invoice, for example, or you make an offer proposal, just make sure that you're redirecting them to your general terms and that you have it on your website, for example. It's just, you just need to protect yourself, right? And always, like Mao said, just make sure that you're not saying, okay, this is how you need to do it, and if you do it this way, you are legal. At the end of the day, we are PPC specialists. We want the best for a client. But we're not lawyers, so
exactly. Just be careful with that. I saw a question before. I will try to find it, but was someone who asked about, have you tried any profit bidding tool solutions like Profit Metrics?
Yes.
We both know Frederick, but what are your experiences with something like Profit Metrics?
I think it's an awesome tool. It's a great tool. I have used it. The only thing is that the company needs to have all their profit margins right. If you do not have all profit margins right, you can still use some fallback costs, but it's really key that you have those right. And if they are being updated, that you still make sure that they also update all the margins, right? All the cost price, because otherwise you could lose money, right? So the company needs to be mature for this tool. But it really helps a lot. You can get way more volume because you're not working with memes.
Yeah. And it, as a nice side benefit, they also have server-side tagging that you can just use like that. And the conversion boosters, that's a nice one too.
Yeah, a lot of people forget that they also have that tool inside, and I think that's a bit of a shame, that because everybody's talking about POAS, but then they forget that they still have the conversion booster, right? And they also have the labelizer in it, or the that's the tool
That's
you
new.
mean?
No,
the new tool.
Yeah, that's that as well. Like, yeah, they're
How
building
was
so
that?
many cool things.
I just forgot the name. But you could just segment the products also with their tool.
Shopping booster,
Yeah,
I
shopping
think.
boosters. That's called.
Yeah,
Yes.
but their conversion booster, that's actually a man. Bob is really good at explaining this. I think it's sort of like offline conversion tracking, similar to for ecom.
Yep.
Um,
Correct.
and that's my sort of. It's kind of hard to explain the ins and outs, but Bob usually does that, so he's the best at that.
Yeah, that's just another big upside there. A lot of people don't talk about, and you also have the
Yeah.
difference between real server side and then client server side. But yeah, Frederick knows a lot about. Frederick
Yeah.
really. I mean, if Frederick and Bob would do a podcast, I think I need to stop all the time to just understand, because yeah, Frederick also, he knows so much about stuff because he has built it, of course, with
Yeah.
developers, and then Bob also knows so much.
True. I might just set that up. That would be interesting
Those
conversation.
two to get together.
Yeah, man, the technical boys. Yeah, that would be awesome. Well, speaking of conversion tracking, Nitin asked, "What are the conversion tracking setup you suggest for lead gen?" It's interesting, Adrian, because I see you post a lot more like how-to videos recently. So, what would be your suggestions for lead gen?
Phone number, if that's important. Click on phone number, but also just call tracking if they want calls and if there are deals being done over the phone. Click on email, for example. Lead forms, starting with a lead form, sending back the if it has become a deal. You can do that with the Google Click ID, but also with enhanced conversions, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the bigger the account gets, also the more stuff you start measuring, and the more time, of course, you have to start using all those things. For example, sometimes it's too hard maybe to make an appointment, because I also have some accounts where you can just make appointments in Calendly, and I would also track those. But then we do a free PDF, for example, that you can download, and then you can measure the download of that PDF. It's more about which actions do you want them to take, or which how does a lead looks like, how does he behave, and can we track that, and which action falls into the category. That could be, for example, like I said, somebody maybe watching a video, because that video is a how-to tutorial on how to use the tool, for example. But if you do not have that tool and that's not interesting maybe, then of course you will not measure it. But you can measure a lot of things still.
Solid, man. Solid. Yeah, for lead gen, offline conversion tracking is such a big weapon. All right, Candela. In pMax, do you recommend to always exclude brand name if it's an ecom and you do not have shopping campaign? Okay, so let's say you only have pMax running. Do you exclude brand? Yes or no?
In pMax. No shopping campaigns with
Yeah,
ecom?
so let's say it's only Performance Max campaigns. Do you exclude brand when it's ecom?
Yeah, I think it's always better.
Yeah. And why?
Because brand. Okay, so maybe in the case where you only get one conversion out of brand traffic, maybe I'm like, okay, I don't care. I already have a search campaign on the site and I do not see the traffic coming in. But normally it's just hot traffic. It's so hot, so warm traffic, and you're going to mix that with cold traffic or normal traffic, for example. You just cannot compare branded traffic with non-branded traffic. It's so different. And
Yeah.
I understand that sometimes non-brand traffic could also be people who already know your stuff, but branded traffic, it has so much intent. That's just the hottest client you can have. Maybe sometimes even when you do not have a brand campaign, they otherwise would go organic and buy your stuff. So it's just so different.
Yeah, I would also say the same. Like, there's almost no benefit in keeping it in. It's only going to dilute the data and make it not trustworthy. And even if you only get one, let's say a few clicks or one conversion on brand, and you decide to not exclude it, that could be okay. But then even like down the road, maybe at some point it's gonna grab that traffic for no reason, could be the case. Then you can already prevent that by just simply excluding it. But yeah, in 99% of the cases, I would just exclude and set up branded shopping and branded search campaigns. Yeah, that's a follow-up from Canela. So you recommend to always have a search and a shopping campaign for brand? Yeah, most cases, yes. Search for sure. And in search, we would never create a campaign with both non-brand and brand inside, right? It's always split up. So why would it be different for Performance Max? And with that does mean exactly that you need a branded standard shopping campaign, which requires a bit more work on excluding non-branded search terms, but it is 100% worth it. Okay, have you found greater success with pMax feed only or full pMax with all assets?
Yeah, just basically, I think that it really depends on the case of the client. It's not that the full asset is better than the feed only. It's just, if you use the full asset, for example, do you have enough conversions, and do you have good assets, of course, or do you want to be cost effective maybe, and you do not want a lot of reach, for example. So it's just more the case in which you would apply it. It's not that one is better than the other. Just look at your specific case, look at your goals, and for example, if you want to be real cost effective, I can imagine that you say, I just only want pMax feed only.
Yeah. All right, let's see what we have here. Well, sometimes if you exclude your brand name, then sometimes your competitor also shows ads on your keywords. So there's a pro and con in both cases, I guess. So we should work accordingly. Yes, but you can protect your brand with branded search and branded shopping campaign. And in these campaigns, you generally get lower CPCs as well for your keywords, because you have in search, you have high quality scores on brand, usually 10 out of 10. And it's your brand, so that just means you get lower CPCs. But yeah, I agree. Especially if competitors are bidding on your brand, then you want to protect it, but you do that with branded search and branded shopping.
Yeah, and sometimes there's a chance that a competitor goes above your branded campaign. It will happen maybe once out of 100 times, or maybe two. That can happen, and I think it's impossible to get 100 out of 100 impressions for the first place. So also accept that you will not always be number one, but you want to be number one, for example, I think between 70 and 90% at least. So that's a broad range, but I think a lot of the times you will see in the action insights really what is happening. And I have clients that will send me, oh, we're not number one for this query right now. And then I will look into the auction insights, and I see that we're just 9 out of 10 times number one.
Yeah. I think if you're aiming for 100% absolute top impression share, first of all, it's just simply not possible. And secondly, you will get a lot, like those last couple of clicks are going to be super expensive. Yeah, exactly. So that's a dangerous situation. Okay, let's see if we can get one final question, Adrian. Let's see. Andrew, if I have several lead conversions set up as primary goals, so phone calls, form submission, chatbot, etc., is it a good idea to group all of them together into a custom conversion?
Yeah, if you make a custom conversion, it will just use all the conversions, right? So it's just one conversion group that you're using for one campaign. So a phone call or form submission is already very different from a chatbot. So that's just, I would just really look into it. It's hard for lead gen, because for lead gen you can have just different conversions, and I would always prefer to focus on one conversion if you have enough data. But yeah, the chatbot, for example, is already so much different. You can use a custom conversion to segment them, of course, but it's using multiple primary goals. You can test it, but it's normally way better to focus on one. That's hard for lead campaigns.
Yeah, exactly. I think you should only probably use micro conversions or a combination of those if your macro conversions, so the main one, doesn't get the desired amount of conversions, and then you can combine them or use micro conversions to sort of ramp it up in the beginning, but then you want to. I think for lead gen, I'm definitely not a specialist here. If Bob would be here, would explain that much better than I'm doing right now. But I think the mistake that you can make is just having every conversion out there and giving them all the same value, right?
Yeah, like I said, a chatbot, for example, just talking to them, that's so much different from a phone call or from submission. Talking to a chatbot, that everybody could do that. For example, I know it's better than maybe not chatting to them, but it's just really different.
Yeah. Okay, Adrian. Well, thank you, man. Let me get Katarina on here. One sec. All right. So, Katarina, welcome.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. You guys know each other as well, right?
Yeah, we are LinkedIn. We've never talked directly, but I'm very happy to see you finally, Adrian.
Same. Nice to meet you.
Nice.
Nice to meet
Very
you.
cool. So, with all the last guests, I asked the previous guests to ask a question to the new one. So, Adrian, do you have a question for Katarina?
Yeah, but what is your specialty in Google Ads? Really, your core specialty? You would say your best knowledge part.
I do both lead gen and e-commerce, but e-commerce, I think it's the most fun part, honestly, because I've been doing it a lot. And I have one client that's just amazing. I've been working with them for 4 years. And you just get so much into the business. You look at the division between other channels. You look at all the internal data, all the profit margin. And over the years, you really are a part of building a business, which is so fun to me. Of course, you can do in lead gen too. But I have to say e-commerce is a bit more fun to me so far.
I can imagine. It's just fast-paced. They change things really fast, and it's just really different. And they're, I would say, more into new trends, right? And B2B or lead gen can sometimes be a bit, they're a bit slower with adapting, and not all companies.
Yeah,
but it's different.
I agree. It can be a little bit more if you have a huge some corporates can have a bit more of a bureaucratic structure and you can test a little bit less. But I feel e-commerce sometimes can be a bit more dynamic. Of course, depending on what, SaaS are usually very modern and they can test a lot, but other more different types of company can be stricter with testing and they can be very strict with ad copy and all of that. So sometimes that can be a little bit less, flexible in the optimization, basically, I think personally.
Cool. Thanks for answering my question.
Okay,
of course,
Adrian.
Adrian.
Thanks for coming. It's always a pleasure. And PPC Mastery Podcast is launching soon. And Adrian's episode is, I think, the third one. So that's going to launch. The first one is tomorrow. Then the week after we have Bob. And then the week thereafter, so on the 21st of August, Adrian is on the pod to talk all things news, trends, and also some LinkedIn stuff. So that's going to be exciting.
Go check it out. And good luck, guys. And
Thanks,
Katarina.
man. I'll see you later.
Bye-bye.
See you, man. Peace. All right. Katarina, welcome.
Thank you. How are you, Miles?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Have you read the Google Ads, the Google antitrust case verdict?
Yeah. I skimmed through it. I didn't have much time this morning yet to go into detail, but I did see that they kind of lost the case. But I haven't really read the ins and outs yet. Have you?
Yeah, I've been reading about this case for months because I was very curious about how it would end up. And it looks like they really lost for now. And also I read the verdict and the jury, and the verdict also includes the extra prices that have been, come up in the case.
Yeah.
Because Google, there have been documents which have been leaked about internal pricing system that charge quite a lot extra basically on us advertisers, and that has been recognized by verdict, which is very, very nice, I think. And then Google is probably going to appeal. They said they're going to appeal, so it's gonna take some time before any practical and serious consequence is gonna happen. But I'm very happy that at least some truth has come out about this.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? Because I think with this topic, everyone was already like in the past, everyone always thought that this was going on, but there were
Mhm.
would be no way for us to actually prove it. So it's insane that this is actually going on right now. Did they
Exactly.
what did they mention in terms of like percentages or how much they boosted
They
it?
basically there was some papers some months ago, internal LinkedIn Google papers, showing that sometimes they would charge 5 or 10% extra. I have to reread it because it's very complicated, but basically
Yeah,
they showed how they make it look like it's a competitive auction price search, but it's just Google squashing the cushions, as they said,
yeah, yeah,
and using a lot of different techniques. Like, for example, charging more for if you're in the second spot, they would charge more, and even penalizing when you have a higher quality score, because when you're at the top you have higher quality score, and in theory you
yeah,
should
yeah.
get a cheaper click.
Right.
And the verdict named the supra competitive prices, which means they're over a normal competition, since Google has a monopoly. And yeah, I think it's very nice as an advertiser myself to get it like on paper and proved.
Yeah, interesting. So, what do you think is gonna come next? Google's probably gonna appeal. Then what? What do you think?
Who's gonna appeal? I read some lawyers and judges' opinions on this, and there can be serious consequences. It's impossible to know now which ones, but other antitrust cases, like the Amazon is also in a big antitrust thing, basically, and it can be that Google get like limited in how they operate, which now is very like free, and they have basically a monopoly that they use how they want. Some others say that it can that it can like be divided in the ways it operates, but now we really don't know. But I really hope that some consequences, at least in some time, will come, because now I think it's a bit unfair the way they have priced us.
Yeah, for sure. Do you know if they mentioned a deadline for Google's appeal?
No, I actually don't know that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, let's see. I'm curious what that is gonna have in terms of impact on advertisers and
Mm-hmm.
um, on our budgets, our CPCs, all that stuff. Um, or if they actually have to change something in terms of the auctions, or if they're just gonna get a fine and continue, like with the CSS thing
Yeah,
a couple
yeah,
of years
yeah.
ago, where they got a huge fine, but they also had to change how they had to open up the CSS basically for other providers. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, curious to see how that plays out.
Yeah, me too, definitely.
Okay, well, Katarina, welcome. Good
Thank
thing that you
you.
brought that up. For everyone who is here right now who doesn't know you, could you maybe tell a little bit about yourself and where you are in your Google Ads career right now, and what type of clients you work with? You think you already mentioned that, mostly e-com, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So I worked with Google Ads for 4 years. I started in a Norwegian agency. I'm Italian. I moved to Norway when I was 18 and did my bachelor there. And then I got into a Norwegian agency, and they needed a Google Ads specialist. So I was like, yeah, I can try that. And first I did an internship, and then they hired me. And there I worked with most business cases, B2B, B2C, e-commerce, lead gen. I really had a lot of different experience in a lot of cases. And then I wanted to move back to Italy from Norway, and I decided to become a freelance. And it's gone very great so far. Now it's 2.5 years that I'm freelancing, and I have very nice
How long?
clients, and I'm very happy about it. 1.5 years.
Oh, 1.5 years. Nice, nice.
Yeah. Can you hear me well?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's good.
Perfect.
So one and a half years. Yeah, continue. Go on.
Mm-hmm. And I'm freelancing both with e and lead gen. I think I'd say I do a bit more of e-com, but also lead gen for some clients. And it's been going great. And LinkedIn has helped a lot. I know you guys mentioned LinkedIn today, and I really suggest to any freelance out there, really.
Yeah. So let's talk about that, because when we first spoke, was right when you joined the PPC Hub last year. I think
Mm-hmm.
September, maybe November, but I think it was September.
September,
Um,
yeah.
Yeah, we had our fika and our one-on-one, and you mentioned that you were just starting freelancing, and you were wondering like, okay, I want to help brands in Norway because I live there, I understand the culture, I speak the language. What would you recommend? Do I post in Norwegian to attract those clients? Do I go for English to speak to a bit of a broader market? I think I've seen you do both, but I wonder, like, what has been your approach to leveraging LinkedIn for your freelance business since then?
Yeah, that was a big question in my mind because I wanted to have Norwegian clients, and I speak Norwegian, and I tried posting Norwegian and I failed because no one really engaged. Because if you think about it, LinkedIn is really like a community. You know it more than most. That you have to talk to other people, engage with the comments, and you build relationships, and that helps your engagement. And my community now in LinkedIn, I would say, is mostly international, like Adrian, Thomas, and like you, or like Floris, Flowboost. Those are the people that I would say I interact the most. And Google Ads in posting in LinkedIn in no way is not that active, and so that was not a smart move in terms of engagement. So I would say to continue to stick to English if someone wants to market themselves at the Scandinavian or Norwegian market. But then if I would have wanted to have Italian clients, I think I would have gone for Italian, because English is less spoken in Italy than, for example, other North European countries.
Yeah. And as a freelancer now, are you working with all kinds of different clients from, let's say, locations, or are you still focusing more on the Norwegian market or Italian market?
I'm open to more locations. I work mostly with still Norwegians. I have one client from the US, but mostly is Norwegian clients because they're very nice to work with, I have to say. Norway has a very nice work culture, and Norwegian clients can be, I really like working with them, basically.
Yeah, cool. And you recently started working with Flowboost. How did that partnership come about?
Yeah, so I think at first Floris in the PPC hub, maybe. I cannot remember either PPC hub or, but the PPC hub helped foster that connection. And then he contacted me on LinkedIn, and I've done an audit for him first, so he wanted to see my approach on things. And we'll be talking a little bit, and then we started working together. And I'm really I think Flowboost is a very, very nice agency. I know quite a lot of agencies, both in and outside, and this is a good one, I feel, because they're very transparent and honest, both with clients and freelancers. There's a lot of knowledge sharing. And I really like working there. Yeah,
Flowboost is great. Shout out to those guys, Thomas, Flores, Arjan, and everyone. I think it's growing really well. I can see it from the content, but also when I talk to those guys, it's always you can always notice it's on a high level, and also based on the internal knowledge sharing that they have, and products that they're creating. Looks like there are a lot of smart people in there. So it was cool to see you join them as a freelancer.
And also in all of this, the PPC has helped in all of this connection. For example, it made me connect with Elisabetta Galucci from Italy, with Violetta. And it's just, I think the PPC hub, this transition when you're alone freelancing without an agency, is just a very helpful tool to get to know the people, to get to know how they work, not only on the technical part, but also on the, the freelancing part of it. Cause you're alone and you don't know what to do with a client. You don't know, how to get more clients or all of this, and everyone goes through the same struggles. And it was very nice to talk to, other people in PPC hub, basically.
Yeah, awesome. So great to hear. All right, so are you ready for some Google Ads questions from the chat?
Yes.
All right, let's do it. The first one is from Prem. He asked, how do you stay updated with Google Ads? Everything changes at lightning speed. Is there any specific way to learn and upskill yourself to be better prepared?
Good question, especially as a freelance.
Yeah.
What I do is the PPC hub, which helps, and I have a lot of connections with other freelancers. I know a lot of Italian freelancers. I have talked to Flowboost. I talk to other freelancers in the ecosystem, and I think that's a great way to keep updated. We share with each other news, and that can be very, very useful. So get to know other people in Google Ads. And then I would say be on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a great way to be updated. There's a lot of free resources from Thomas, from Adrian, and just being a little bit on LinkedIn can be very, very helpful to get updated. And also one other thing, I really like John Moran's video. That's why also I was very excited to see that John Moran is going to be on the podcast. I think he also has a lot of great content that helps you navigate using Google Ads, and just that has been also very helpful.
Yeah, it's really nice to see that a lot of people are just sharing the best strategies. I think 2-3 years ago it was completely different. I feel like people were keeping their strategies more to themselves, but since a few years the collaboration in the LinkedIn community has really like grown, and I feel like it's on the level of what PPC chat was back in the day on Twitter when it was super active there, or X now. There was a super like relatively small niche community of people that were all helping to help each other out, and it still exists, obviously, like it's still alive. But I think LinkedIn is really like the place to be right now, with so many people sharing their best things and helping each other, and passing leads on to each other and everything. So it's it's just super cool to see that. And the John Moran podcast episode is going to go live tomorrow. I think you're going to like that, because I did ask him some questions about I did ask him some questions about his approach, because I think what people don't really understand is that he puts a lot of thinking and efforts into determining whether he's going to make a change or not. Well, it may sound like he's just like, oh, I'm going to remove conversion tracking, set up manual CPC, and then you see the CPC is going to go down, costs are going to go, instead of costs going up, CPC going up, costs are going down, CPC going down. That's kind of how he talks, super high level and fast. But people forget that there's a lot of thinking beforehand, a lot of analyzing before that goes into it. And he also said that, I don't really recommend this to everyone. It's just like, this was the case that I used it on. It's working for these types of clients for me, but I definitely don't recommend to use it at all times. So I think you're gonna enjoy that one.
Can't wait.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's get another question from Alex from Bake. Do you guys see trends in consolidated account structures, and would you say that Hagakure, so consolidation, is still the way to go in the future? Online there is many discussions about going back to a segmented campaign structure, account structure. What do you think?
I've seen this discussion. I've seen the article also in Search Engine, I think. I've tested a lot with SCAG versus a more consolidated structure, and I still test a little bit. And I get better results still from a consolidated structure. And it also depends a lot. If it's an account which is like mid-size and not super big, I would still consolidate and not make something very, very like fragmented. But if you have a big account and if you see that some keywords are really the top performers, then it can be nice to put them in another campaign and give them more budget, just not to, get them penalized by the broader campaign structure, basically.
Yeah, the article you meant was the single keyword ad group article from Matt Bowen, right? Yeah, I think that was an interesting one. And my problem that I have with SCAGs right now these days is that first of all, you don't see all the search terms, and second of all, you have all the close variants matching all over the place. So it just becomes really hard, and you cannot really prove that it's just a single search term that you're triggering in that ad group. That's kind of the hard thing I have with that. But with everything that you said, I also agree. Like, consolidation is first and foremost like crucial because it just allows you to bundle data. That's why, not because you need to consolidate, but because you get more data per campaign, which is better for the algorithm. But then if you have certain things that you need to segment out because you have a good reason to do so, then I 100% agree that is the right way to go. And what do you think about shopping and pMax? Because I feel like segmentations are much more important there than with search. For example, with labelizer strategies and stuff like that. Do you agree with that, or do you also try to consolidate as much as you can with pMax or shopping?
No, actually, in pMax and shopping, I really like to segment, unless the account has very few products and unless it doesn't make sense conversion based. I've seen too many cases where Google really uses too much money on easy and the bad products, basically, and that I really like to segment per product performance with a labelizer. I even have an account where I have one pMax per product category from the labelizer, and shopping campaign, standard shopping campaign for each product category, and the pMax is feed only, which is very segmented. But this way, I make sure that I can use more money on colder traffic from a standard shopping, but on the right products that I want, and not, the way Google basically wants me to spend.
Yeah, that's really solid. All right. Well, different question, actually. Totally different course, but that's fine. How do you manage your day/week as a freelancer? How do you allocate time between executing versus client meetings versus learning and rebooting? I guess that is relaxing, maybe. I don't know. Generally, client wants to use freelancers as a full-time resource. How do you cope with them or set any boundaries? So a lot of questions here, a lot to unpack. But let's start with the first sentence is, how do you manage your day/week as a freelancer? What does that typically look like?
Basically, a good that's worked for me is to start my day with checking every account and checking if something has happened with a very quick check and check my emails. I've allocated time slots for each client where I just do account work, basically. And that's very helpful to me because also it's actually not good to make too many changes. And if you just work in the account, like if you make a lot of changes too frequently, you're actually hurting the algorithm. And having an allocated time for each client in my week where I know I'm going to just work on the client and be completely focused, not look at LinkedIn, not look at anything else, has been very, very beneficial. And do you allot time between executing this client meeting? Okay, yeah, I paid time. Usually, in the day where I work for that client, I also have the meeting with that client. Very helpful because then I get ideas from them. I work on the account in the basically day, and that's just that allows me to be very focused on different clients, but also at all times what all the details in every client. Then clients want to use freelancer full time. You have to set boundaries, I think. No, Miles, what do you think about this one?
Yeah. So setting boundaries, you mean about setting boundaries, Bart?
Yeah, like when a client wants to use you as a full-time resource.
I see. Yeah, well, it depends, like on your pricing model. If you have hourly system and they say, yeah, we want to have you on board full time, then that can be fine because they pay you. But if you have a different pricing system, let's say fixed fee or percentages of spend or something like that, then I would definitely not recommend it because you're probably being inefficient. But I would say, what I would say to the client is that the time spent is sort of irrelevant because what matters is the result that you're driving. And if a client is talking to you about hours, then they are micromanaging you. So if that's the case, I would talk to them about why as a freelancer, you have different clients to work with and you're trying to allocate as much time as you can for this client that is necessary to drive results. You do everything you can in your power to drive results. The relationship should be built on results and on a business relationship that way, and not per se on your time spent doing something for that client, because otherwise they're just gonna I hate when I feel like a client is micromanaging me. If it continues to happen, then yeah, it is on me to educate the client that we need to do something differently. But let's say nothing changes and I keep saying like, no, if let's say client wants to do a daily call with me or something like super extreme, just to check in with me, then I will explain to them why that is not the way I work. And if they don't agree with that and they want to continue with this way, then I have no other choice than to just walk away from this client and just, you know, call it a day and stop working with them. That's probably the hardest thing to do, because you're saying goodbye to revenue. But I think the long term, you'll be much better off not working for these types of clients than sacrificing your own boundaries for what someone else wants from you. So unless you agree that you're working full-time with them, because those, you know, types of freelance jobs also exist. Well, that's what my girlfriend does. She's a interim freelancer, so she's much more inside of an organization as an interim specialist for a fixed, usually it's like 3 to 9 months. Then it's fine, you know, you're just basically part of the team full time, or a specific amount of hours per week. But if you're working for clients like us, always on Google Ads, which is usually performance focused, then I would just stay away from those types of clients. That's what I would say. Would you add anything to that?
No, totally.
Yeah, cool, awesome. Next question then. To anyone else that is here still, if you have a question for Katarina or for me, just drop it in the chat and we will pull it up on the screen. Let's see. Tiberio, have you noticed a decrease in the performance of the target ROAS bid strategy for the e-commerce accounts after the introduction of Google Consent Mode V2? If yes, what was your alternative? So have you seen issues with your data after implementing Consent Mode V2?
For the e-commerce account, I actually didn't have a big change in performance after implementation of Consent Mode 2. I did it much in advance, and I made sure that it was compliant, and I have a very good tracking setup with server side, and I was sure everything was fine before that. And I have to say, I didn't see a big performance drop in the e-commerce client for after Consent Mode, actually.
Yeah, same here. But yeah, even if that was the case and you see a drop in maybe audience size or conversions, there's no way around using Google Consent Mode V2 in the areas where it needs to be implemented. You know, EU, Switzerland, UK. It's just what it is. You have to deal with it. Is it a good strategy, Panagiotis? Is it a good strategy to use target CPA after consent mode? The algorithm seems to be having difficulty achieving conversions. What are your thoughts?
Oh, I mean, if you don't have, first of all, I would really try to assess the tracking situation. So I would try to, if you have the budget to evaluate server side, if you don't have it yet, and like all the, you know, enhanced conversion in every possible way to get more data. And then if you have done everything about tracking and you still don't have conversions, it's, you know, the usual question if it's worth it to use smart bidding with not enough conversions. If you don't see good results, you might want to try another strategy, maximize clicks or manual CPC, if you're very sure about the keywords that you're choosing. But if not, I would really try to make tracking the best, you know, as best as you can, and finding ads conversion, making it server side, and try to gather as much data as you can, and still try to use smart bidding. And yeah, if you don't have enough data, then you try to go after maximize clicks or manual CPC and try.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, I have one final question for you. It's out of personal interest. pMax or standard shopping?
Standard shopping.
Yeah.
Or better, the combo pMax and standard shopping. I think that's really a cool combo.
The what? Sorry, say that again.
The combo between pMax and standard shopping.
How would you? What's your approach to that then?
I use a little bit of budget on standard shopping and a bit on pMax. And usually the CPCs are higher on standard shopping, and I have to use more aggressive bidding strategies, like lower target ROAS or you maximize clicks, and just spend more basically on standard shopping. But it helped me. Now I'm scaling an e-commerce account, and we are incremental spend, and MAR is going up, which is very nice.
Mhm.
And I think it's really because you have to take care of leveraging colder clients and do the prospecting, and pMax alone won't do that. And usually goes after colder traffic, so I think the combo really helps you to whole customer journey basically.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, well, Katarina, thank you for coming on.
Thank you so
Let me
much.
pull. Yeah, anytime. Let me pull up Roger on screen. Hey, man.
Hey, how's it
Hi,
going?
Roger.
Good, man. How are you?
Good, good. Glad to
Good,
be
good.
here.
Yeah, man, for sure. Good to see you and talk to you for the first time on screen. I was gonna say in person, but sort of in person
Close
online.
enough.
Yeah, close enough, close enough. You guys, I don't know if you know, you're both in the PPC hub. Roger is super active with answering questions, helping other people in there. So that's always cool to see. Katarina, do you have a question for Roger?
Let me think. What's the latest, coolest, or the best tactic that you have tried or studied in Google Ads in the last period?
Oh man, that's tough. I think I'll go with ad customizers, which don't get used too often, but trying to set that up a little bit for sort of almost like the dynamic keyword insertion part of it, but for keywords where sometimes you don't want to use that specific keyword in ad copy. So setting just kind of custom titles for a bunch of different keywords that you don't have to do a crazy amount of ad groups. So I'll go with that.
Good one. Good one.
Solid. Okay, well, hey, Katarina, thank you for coming on. It's been fun talking to you, and best of luck with everything. Tell the guys at Flowboost I said hello, and
I
feel
will.
free to join us again anytime.
So much, Miles. Cheers. Thank you.
See ya. Ciao.
Bye bye. Ciao.
Bye. All right, Roger. Welcome, man.
Yeah.
Again, good to talk to you. For those here that don't know who you are, could you explain a bit who you are, where you are in your Google Ads career, and what type of clients you work with? I'm actually super interested to understand this for myself as well.
Yeah, definitely. I'll try and keep it a little bit quick. I think we got
Sure,
like
man.
42 questions left to run through. So I've been in digital marketing for the last 8+ years here at Conduit Digital. We're a white label agency specifically. So work strictly with other agencies. Started out actually on the programmatic side, running display, video, OTT campaigns. In terms of the clients that we work with, we work through other agencies for everything. So with that, we work with a pretty massive span of different industries and client types. So pretty much everything imaginable we've worked in, from huge hospital groups to and major brands to smaller mom and pop shops in the middle of nowhere. So that's kind of the gist of it.
Yeah, awesome, man. Awesome. So, and your role, are you overseeing the team, or are you active in the account yourself? What does that look like, or both?
Yeah, so both. So I do oversee a team here of just specifically PPC analysts. So I'm in the accounts as well. So not a full account workload usually, since I'm helping a lot with training and just kind of troubleshooting any issues and all that goes along with that. But still pretty hands-on with the accounts that I do manage, which makes it a lot easier to train and stay up to date with all the updates and features and everything that's constantly changing here.
Yeah, so I guess you have the responsibility of the team to make sure that the quality stays high, the level is high, right?
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of work goes into that, I'm sure, as you can imagine, and working on accounts together. But
Yeah.
I like that way you get a lot more people's perspectives on how to do things and lots of different ideas doing it that way.
Yeah, awesome, man. All right, well, shall we take some questions from chat?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, Candela asked, how do you manage special dates on Google Ads? So I think she asked the question before, so it was more so on the how do you manage your campaigns when you have a sale? So for example, Black Friday, Father's Day, Mother's Day, those types of things. what do you do with your campaigns?
Yeah, that's a good question. I guess it depends a little bit on the client's goals for it. If they really want to, if that's something where that they spend or they get a particularly big chunk of their revenue throughout the year or something like that, like Black Friday, Cyber Monday, things like that, where you might want to start gradually scaling up your budget as you get to that date. And also would want to make sure that you try and get any kind of testing and experimentation done before then, usually, if it's something that's really important, since you don't want to make some big high risk tests during the peak period. But I don't know what other things do you keep in mind for that?
Well, actually, I want to zoom in on what you said. Like, testing beforehand is crucial, and I kind of consider the entire year to be a testing period for Black Friday, because on Black Friday, it's like, especially for ecom, this is when you need to perform. And I have a client that was last year. They didn't really experiment too much throughout the year, and then Black Friday came, and they sort of woke up to the idea of, oh yeah, we need to test more. We need to test the offer, more creatives, etc. But I think actually in my mind that was way too late, because then maybe you're running a test, and what if it's not successful, on Black Friday, and you kind of ruin the entire year. Whereas if it's the other way around, and you can prove like certain offers maybe work in the earlier part of the year, or certain messaging or whatever, then you can really scale that, because you can double down on it on Black Friday. So I think that was a great point that you mentioned, that the preparation is really key for those things.
Yeah, definitely. And then, I mean, if you can make an experiment work in the downtime of the year, it should theoretically definitely work a lot better during the peak too. So.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I guess when it comes to, she asked specifically like new campaigns, I would probably only launch a new campaign if we have new products that are on sale only during this sale period. Otherwise, I would probably use the existing campaigns. What about you?
Yeah, typically I would just use the existing campaigns, unless new products or a new location or market or something like that. Even then, for new products, might test just adding it into an existing campaign, but I guess that depends on kind of the forecasted volume and everything, to make sure it wouldn't eat up too much of what's already running. So
yeah.
Cool.
Candela mentioned, thanks for the info, so valuable. Definitely will join the PPC up after this. You're more than welcome to. Doors actually closed tonight, because we're gonna keep it closed over the summer. But feel free to join us. All right, Ramil, leading a team, how do you ensure that your team members stay up to date with best practices?
Yeah, that's a really good question. It's a little bit challenging with as much that's constantly changing, but I also feel like it's a little bit easier. Kind of, I think you and Katarina were mentioning this, where information is shared pretty freely in this space, which is really cool. I mean, one easy way to do that is just something like the PPC Hub, which our team's been in for about the last year. So that's really good for just going, shooting any questions in there, trying to get other people's opinions and things that you might not be thinking of yet. I know I usually just go in there, even if I'm not answering questions, I try and look at as many questions as possible, just to think of like what other people are thinking of. That's a really good way to stay on top of all the updates. Same thing with just following a lot of people on LinkedIn. Everyone, all the other guest speakers on here, also great follows. They're just pumping out a lot of information and updates, and asking polls for people, and trying to really get everyone's kind of take and unique perspective on everything that's going on.
Yeah, I love that. And you mentioned LinkedIn. I think you told me that you're planning to start ramping up your posts. What do you have planned?
Yeah, I just started putting out a few posts
Nice.
at the end of last week and over the weekend, and already forgot about it the last couple of days, so I'll get that back going today. But
awesome.
Just starting to try helping people, so putting out just kind of a series of posts on keyword research for launching campaigns, and all the different things that I've seen work, and things that people have talked about. For anything like that, come up with content. One other thing I like for any kind of community like PPC Hub or just on LinkedIn, seeing you can kind of use that for a testing ground. Like if someone has a good question and put together an answer for that, and you're like, oh, wow, I think this would kind of work really well on LinkedIn or something, then you can borrow a little bit of your ideas and kind of try and restructure them, repackage them.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I think it helps. One of the things that I wrote down, I was going to actually share some success principles, mindset things at the beginning, but I just dove straight into the questions, which is fine. But one of the things was a quote that I got from Robin Sharma. And he said, teacher learns most. And I think this is really true, because when you're first starting out, you learn a lot by just you soak up all this knowledge. But then the second step is like, you have to teach someone else, because when you teach someone else, you have to force yourself to think in a better way and to structure your thoughts. And I think with LinkedIn, if you share your ideas in content, you're trying to give as much as possible in like a super short post with limited character count. So you're forced to think clearly about your ideas, and I think as a result, you're just going to get better at your craft, which is Google Ads in this case. So and I also saw that the keyword research post that you did, I think you did relatively well compared to the amount of followers you have. So definitely keep that up.
Yeah, I was surprised, but that is a good point. While putting that together and kind of brainstorming like all the different bullet points on it, as I was like typing things out, I would come up with 2 or 3 other ideas where I was like, oh man, I totally forgot about this. That kind of goes back towards leading a team too. Whenever you're training on something, there's always a bunch of questions that someone will ask me, and I'll be like, oh, that's a really good question. I never thought about like why we do something this specific way. And so that really helps you to kind of just reinforce all the fundamentals and get the deepest really understanding of everything that you can.
Yeah. So you oversee a team of analysts, PPC analysts, and you're a paid search media manager. I think is that the correct?
Yep.
Paid search manager. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So did you also start as an analyst?
Yeah, I started as I don't remember what we were calling the role at the time, since it was 8 years ago, but junior analyst, kind of came in pretty fresh. I've been trying to teach myself coding, and then started working at our agency, and like that a lot more than coding at the time, and just kind of took it from there. And then in the last 3 years I've just been strictly on the PPC side of things, learning as much as we can and working on our team and just trying to get a little better every day.
Yeah, awesome. And when did you get this new role, when you started to manage the team?
I've been managing teams for a while now, at least like probably 6 years ago. I think I started doing that more so on the display, video, OTT, programmatic side of things. And then at our agency, I've kind of worked every role that you could think of, where I've gone on more of the business side to work for a couple of years and help building out dashboards and working with like our finance and IT teams. Nice. And now got back into the strictly PPC side for the last few years, which I love and has been my favorite part so far.
Right. Yeah. And the reason why I asked that is because was it difficult for you initially to make that change from, being solely responsible for managing accounts to then all of a sudden being responsible for other people's growth and making sure that they do their work well?
Oh yeah, it's a completely different ball game. It was good for me to have that background. I'm the kind of person that like I need to, or at least I think I do better when I really understand what I'm teaching and training. So having that kind of hands-on ground floor experience was really helpful for me. But there's a lot of challenges that come with managing teams, and that is it's a lot of fun and rewarding, but it's definitely not an easy thing just to pick up and make that transition.
Yeah. So how did you overcome that skill gap then that you had back then to where you are now?
I mean, I had great people on my team that made it pretty easy to work with them and figure out the best ways to lead them. And I had great mentors in my bosses, Rob and Tim, that did a really good job showing how to lead. So it was a lot of trying to learn from people that were already a lot better at it than I was, and just seeing what kind of works for them and how to really lead people effectively.
Yeah, I love that. And it's usually those who are ahead a few steps of you that you can learn the most from. So it's great that you had that at Conduit Digital to facilitate that growth for you as well. Because I had that in when I still worked. I worked in an agency for 2.5 years, and I was growing into that. So I was like mid-year, almost senior when I left. And that's the time when you start to be responsible for other people, and that was just not my strength, man. Like, I was the worst at it. I had an intern, and that was it's fine, but I'm much more of a lone wolf, and it's so difficult for me to manage a team. That's why Bob and I, it's just us, no team members, nothing, because I would be a bad manager, and so would be Bob. So it's a different skill that you have to learn. So kudos to you for learning that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm surprised that it's just you two guys. I assumed you had a team of kind of people that help with everything, because that's a lot to run on your own with everything, that all the courses and everything that you guys are putting out.
True. It is. But man, as you said, it's also rewarding. And the other way would the alternative would be that we do hire a team, and that would just suck all the energy out of me. Because I would have to manage it, not because I don't like people, because I do, but just because I had to be responsible for them. That would just not be my strength.
Yeah.
All right. Benjamin asked about motivating a team, incentives. What type of incentives do you find work best to motivate your team?
Oh man, that's a really good question. We've tried a lot of different things, and it's one of those areas that's kind of just always a work in progress, and want to figure out ways to keep that kind of going and make sure everyone's motivated. I think really I like to focus just on like quality and try and help people get better at specific areas. So that's one thing I've been trying to focus at more recently, just getting back to like focus on one thing and let's get that better. And now let's focus on the next thing and get better at that, and just trying to motivate people by what I can do to help them just improve their skills and everything else in that we're working on.
Yeah. All right, cool. Luke asked, account reps always want to push the latest tools and maximize your spend. I'll let these guys answer your question, but always take what they say with a pinch of salt. The best interest is their own KPIs, not yours. Oh, okay. So I guess I missed the original question, which is this. Do you have any thoughts on using pMax for non-e-com ads, e.g. patient recruitment for clinical trials? Account rep is pushing on this, but I'm not fully convinced. What do you think?
My opinion has changed on this a little bit in the last year or two. So I think the biggest thing is how bulletproof your conversion tracking is from the setup. If you're just running pMax and it's something that's a little bit, it's not like really close to the actual business outcome that you're measuring as a conversion, like just raw leads or something like that, it can be a little bit trickier to drive results. But we've seen really good results from pMax, not necessarily in e-com where it was a product, but an insurance brand that we worked with where you could actually purchase the policy right through the site. So being able to optimize for purchases, that actually pMax did a lot better than our search campaigns and DSA campaigns and every thing else that we had built out that were targeted more granularly and had a more complex setup that we thought would work really well. Tested pretty much everything you could think of, and surprisingly, pMax worked really well for that. But I think it really depends on how bulletproof your conversion tracking is, and just if it really makes sense for that business to run pMax. It needs a lot of data especially I think for things that aren't e-commerce. So that's our experience at least. But yeah, I definitely would take anything the account reps say with a pinch of salt.
Yeah. But also test for yourself, as you said, like your opinion has changed over the years. maybe 2 years ago it didn't work as well as it does now, and then just keep testing, and then once you have the data, you can give it back to your rep and say, no, we tested it, didn't work for us, we're going to continue with what we did. Or the other way around, maybe it did work better, and then you could just continue experimenting with it.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, I think this is a fun question. Luke, I have an account where pMax performance has significantly dropped off despite no changes in products. What would you do to remedy this? How would you audit this? And what are the things that we can tweak with Performance Max?
Oh, yeah, this is a really good question, Luke. This is where pMax gets a little bit more frustrating to work with because we've seen that where performance just tanks out of nowhere. And then it's a lot harder to get to the root cause of it than a search or shopping campaign where you have so many more metrics that you can look at. It helps that they're releasing more metrics at asset group level in pMax now. But I mean, looking at maybe GA4 to see what has kind of changed on the site, seeing one of the things that I try and do first now is look just at the account holistically in GA4 or whatever tracking you're using in analytics to see, is it something where your conversion rate just dropped across the board for organic and direct too? Since then it might be something with the landing page. There might be something where you have to double check the tracking to make sure that that is still firing properly and that someone, a developer didn't just change the thank you page or whatever purchase conversion you're tracking is. Those are kind of the initial starting points. This is where a lot of the more advanced scripts help, like the Mike Rhodes ones and some of the Flowboost ones, where if you can go and then get a deeper picture of even if the products didn't change, did performance change on a specific subset of products, or is it across the board? Since that kind of helps you pinpoint what to start with, but it's tough to figure out sometimes. One of the things you would definitely want to check with those scripts is also the network performance to see if it started going super heavy into YouTube or display instead of shopping or vice versa.
Yeah, all solid points. And as you said, like sometimes with pMax can be really frustrating. It can be hard to pinpoint what actually caused it. But I think the spend allocation insights from the Mike Rhodes pMax script, that will give you really good indication usually of, maybe you're all of a sudden overspending on video, or your ROAS on the shopping network dropped. And you kind of know, okay, I need to either maybe optimize the assets or remove the assets, or focus on feed management, focus on my campaign structure, different products, maybe a different campaign structure. All kinds of different things. Basically with pMax, it's just like you can check everything that you can do in a Google Ads account, because it is just everything all in one campaign. So your bid strategy, your budgets, everything has a huge role to play there. All right, I had a great question here. How do you decide what bidding strategy to use for a new campaign in a B2B lead gen setting where data or conversions are scarce or low?
For a new campaign, I mean, I would test different things, so you'll never know what bid strategy is working best if you just only use the same one to start every time. But that being said, a lot of the time, depending on how much volume we're forecasting, if data and conversions are scarce, I'm assuming that's going to be a lower click volume, super high CPC type of industry, where in those circumstances, depending on how complex the campaign is off the bat, if I have to target a ton of keywords or just like a dozen keywords right off the bat, I would probably start with manual CPC if it's kind of a smaller subset of keywords. That way, at least I know what I should be ballparking the average CPC bids at right to start. And then from there, I can go and just make sure you're taking a look at your conversion rates for the keywords, making sure that the search terms are coming in relevant. And then hopefully once you get enough conversion volume, you can shift to target CPA, target ROAS, whatever you're working with, depending on the conversion structure. Another thing that we've actually seen work well, sometimes, not always, is using more kind of upper funnel conversion actions, kind of to contradict what I was talking about for pMax. But we had one specific account where it was really like commercial B2B focused audio visual installation. So like the people that go and build out the sound system for a church or a theater or some kind of event center. So really high ROI type purchases, but they were high cost per clicks, pretty low search volume for the keywords. So we didn't have a lot of data to analyze in terms of conversions. It might only get a handful of form fills a month at the budget they were working with. But we actually saw some really good results by optimizing towards just setting up conversion actions for like scroll depth and just some of the more button clicks around the landing page. And that strategy hasn't always worked, since we've tested it on a few other ones as well. But in that case, it actually did a lot better than just running on max conversions or manual CPC without that. And then from there, once we got enough form fills coming in, then we were able to switch to, I think, target CPA, which was able to kind of keep that performance more consistent.
Man, that was good. That's like a whole masterclass in how you ramp that up and how you deal with that. That was awesome, man. Okay, let's do a few rapid fire questions. Okay, so here's a one from Zishan. Broad match works. So basically, do you think broad match works? Okay, I was asking about rapid fire questions. I know broad match is probably the most nuanced one. What are your thoughts about broad match?
Sometimes.
Yeah, that was fast.
Yeah, we want rapid fire.
Yeah, okay. pMax for lead gen.
Sometimes.
What's your view on Search GPT and its influence on Google Ads? If you have any opinion at all.
Oh, so like the search engine itself, not using a GPT to help with Google Ads.
Yeah, the new search
engine. Those are
engine,
two very different things.
Yeah.
Don't know yet. It's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be important to really stay on top of the trends in terms of how different search engines are rolling it out, since I think Google scaled it back a little bit since the initial release, and kind of all the not great feedback they were getting online from some of the information it was providing. But I think it'll be really important to stay on top of it and how widespread it's getting, and then just try and do everything you can to get ahead of the curve on that.
Yeah, awesome, man. Okay, one final question. Doesn't have to be rapid fire. Then after this, I'm gonna take a quick break and then do the remainders, the final questions, real fast. But this is from Mohammed Bakur. Could you describe your client onboarding process? How do you gain an understanding of their needs and identify any missing elements, such as landing pages, in their online presence?
Yeah, I think this is where it helps to have like a really templated structure for onboarding, to have that kind of checklist so that you can just go through line by line and make sure that you're hitting on everything, because there's a lot of different moving pieces for Google Ads. So we've developed, just from running thousands of accounts by now, just that really detailed checklist of everything that we need to check for, when we need to give feedback about, like, hey, your website is not really set up for this service, we need to add a landing page. That, I think that's the best starting point. And then really just to get more experience with it, so then more questions to ask that will help really drive whatever business outcome they're going for.
Yeah, this is good. And as you said, like, it's probably best to templatize it, because then it's just a rinse and repeat for every client. And make sure you ask them a lot of questions in the onboarding phase, and even afterwards you can still ask them all the questions you want. But I think this onboarding phase is probably the most important one of all, because you need to get as much information as you can about your client to be able to, tailor the strategy to them and help them in the highest level possible. And I think the more questions you ask about their business and things that are going further than Google Ads, I think the better the impression it is that you're going to have on them.
Yeah, especially upfront, right off the bat, it always looks better to get all that information before you even launch than a month or two into the campaign when you have to go back with kind of some of those more just like business goal type questions.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, hey, Roger, it was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you for coming on. Maybe one final question. If you had to give one like really solid golden nugget about driving results with Google Ads, what would that be?
I think this echoes a lot of what you've talked about more recently, but just really getting good at the fundamentals and getting a really deep understanding of that, because that will help just make sure that you know what's not working right when a campaign is not working well and what is working right so that you could replicate it. But the fundamentals, which is not an easy thing at all in Google Ads, but that's where I would start.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And as you said, it's not an easy thing, and that's what people kind of get wrong about fundamentals, is that they consider it to be sort of easy or beginner stuff. But I think especially with Google Ads, with everything that you could do, it's just so much more important to stick first to the fundamentals, and then afterwards, once that is in place, you can start testing more of the advanced stuff. But first, nail the fundamentals. Otherwise, you're just building a house on a bad foundation. If the ground is just not good, then it's just going to collapse. So, great point. All right, hey, thanks for coming on. Be sure, everyone, to follow Roger. He's gonna hopefully continue to post.
That's the plan.
I will keep an eye on that. And hey, man, it was a pleasure. Thanks for always being so helpful in the PPC hub. And feel free to join me again anytime I go live or in the PPC hub. If you ever want to present something, and the floor is yours, if that would interest you, definitely let me know, because you have so much experience and you're doing so many cool things. It would be awesome to give you the stage again if you wanted to.
Yeah, 100%. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. All right, I'll catch you later.
Yep.
Bob is here. Nice. GM. Okay, guys, I'm gonna be right back. So, all right, be right back, guys. All right. Okay, so let's continue with some questions from Slido. But before, so the PPC Mastery podcast launches tomorrow. We have the first episode of the new season with John Moran. It's launching tomorrow on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple. So definitely check that out. And if you want to join the PPC Hub, the doors are closing tonight, so be sure to check that out. If you still want to join before September, October-ish, when we reopen again. What's that, guys? Share screen. Okay. I think the music is on as well. Which means that now I'm going to continue with Slido. If there are any other questions, just let me know in the chat. and I will be happy to answer. Since I have, let's say, 29 more questions to go, I'm gonna do a rapid fire. So let's start here. Share this tab instead. I hope the music is still on. I don't know. We'll see. Comments. Okay. Vitor, I made some changes to my campaign and its performance dropped significantly. I reverted these changes, but performance remains low. What would be the best course of action now? That's tough, man. I don't know too much about your account, but yeah, without any context, check your budgets, bid strategies, campaign structure, offers, market, seasonality, your ads, landing page. I don't know, but yeah, it's hard to say because I don't know what changes you made. So, sorry, can't answer. Do audience targeting strategies work effectively with automated bidding strategies like Target CPA? Yes, if you're using more of the mid-funnel, upper funnel campaign types, but for search and shopping, I would generally not use audience targeting because I would just let Google figure it out because the targeting is already contextual, and audiences are just estimations mostly. So I wouldn't really layer them on top of my campaigns, especially if they're like in-market audiences. Then this data is already being used by smart bidding, and if you target those audiences specifically, you're just running on a lot of assumptions, basically. So no, I would usually suggest to not use audience targeting on campaigns like search or shopping. And with pMax, etc., yeah, just understand how audience targeting is not per se targeting, but it's more so audience signals that can and will be overwritten by Google eventually. What do you recommend using search themes as an audience signal in pMax? Is that more effective than using the keyword-based custom intent audience? Yeah, great. Also different functionalities here with the audience signals. They are just designed to guide pMax in a certain direction, whereas with search themes is actually a bit more critical because search themes have the same I have to say this correctly, the same ranking factors as no, matching factors, that's the word, the same matching factors as broad match keywords in search. So what that means is that it's going to compete. If you use search themes in pMax, your pMax campaign is going to compete with search for a specific search term in the same auction, which means that you're often going to see cannibalization of your search campaigns when you set up search themes in pMax. This could be an issue if you have well-performing search campaigns. This happened to me, happened to people in the PPC hub, where you have well-performing search campaigns, you set up search themes, and then all of a sudden, boom, search traffic goes down in search campaigns, and it goes up in pMax. That is then because of the search themes. It could also be a good thing if you just want to get more traffic inside of pMax, but just understand what the role is of search themes in the matching hierarchy. That's the word that I was looking for. So it's getting the same matching hierarchy or the same matching criteria in the matching hierarchy as broad match keywords. So it's basically like acting as a broad match keyword inside of pMax. Generally speaking, this is giving you issues with cannibalization. Okay, next. Yeah, if there's any more questions in the chat, guys, let me know. I will gladly take some. Okay, we have a pMax. We have a pMax having 3 different asset groups with different audience signals: in-market, custom intent, website visitors. When looking at broader date range, the data across these asset groups remains stable, like 2 to 3x ROAS. Should we consider consolidating them into a single asset group? Yeah, I would consolidate them if the only differentiating factor is the audience signals, because audience signals are just signals. They are not targeting. You're not targeting in-market audiences. You're not and custom intents and website visitors. You're giving Google, you're giving pMax input on where you want it to go. But as it also says in Google's official documentation, Google can and eventually will go beyond those audience signals, which means that you're probably segmenting out different asset groups for no reason, and you're just splitting up the data. So yeah, I would just consolidate them. Next, or Hitch, what are some strategies you recommend a freelancer without a personal brand to get new clients beside word of mouth? We had this question. I spoke about it with Thomas, but I'll share my thoughts about this again. Is that, in my opinion, the best thing that you can do for your freelancing career, your freelancing business, is build an inbound lead generation system through LinkedIn, which basically comes down to this: share your knowledge on LinkedIn, talk about the pain points of your potential customers, so your freelance clients, engage with other creators on LinkedIn, and of course, like, follow and engage with your ideal client profile, so that you get more exposure with your ideal clients on LinkedIn. And eventually, if you build up your personal brand and you build up enough like trust, they will come to you if they, need a new partner. And this is what I have done in my career. The first client I got was a job board that I was still working at an agency, and I saw an ad, a vacancy on a job board, and I applied to them, and I said, I can fill this role for you, because they had issues filling the role. I can fill this role for you on a freelance basis. And out of 20 or so businesses that I wrote to, one replied and gave me the opportunity. That's how I got my first freelance client, which is more like I kind of hustled that client. Didn't hustle them, but I hustled to get it. But then after that, I used LinkedIn as my lead I was still working at an agency, and I was just posting some Google Ads value bombs here and there. That was my format then. And the day I quit was when a recruiter reached out to me and asked me for an interim role at Ring, the ring doorbell company from Amazon. So yeah, that was perfect for me, because then I got my first big freelance client. But then all the clients afterwards, I got them through LinkedIn or referrals. So yeah, 100% recommend you to build up your personal brand, because from that you're going to get lots of new opportunities, whether it is a new freelance client, speaking gigs, podcast invitations, whatever. Yeah, there's no downside to building that. How can you run effectively ads in highly competitive locations in industries such as hair transplant services? That's a tough one. I think if it's highly competitive and your Google Ads structure is maxed out, you have the right keywords, the right structure, all that stuff, then your added value comes from the business side of things. So having a better offer, having a better landing page, better positioning, better persuasion, persuasive tactics, etc. on your landing page, better reviews, all that stuff. Then if it's so competitive, then you need to work more on the things outside of Google Ads than inside. Okay, let me update the question count. If there's any more questions live here, let me know, guys. I will definitely take some more from the chat. What are some effective strategies for increasing leads by 20% when you've already implemented most of the standard approaches? Well, I don't know what you've done, so that's hard. But let's say you have maximized Google Ads. Then again, focus on your landing page. Focus on conversion rate optimization. Focus on creating a better offer. Maybe move outside of Google Ads and focus on other channels. This is a really difficult question to answer, because there's all I can say is it depends, because I have no context of what you're doing, no context of your budget. But let's say, hypothetically speaking, you have completely maxed out Google Ads. Then yeah, optimize your landing page, better offers, better positioning. That's how you're gonna. If you had to ask me, the easiest way to increase conversion rate by 20%, that would be through your landing page. Mel, for service-based businesses who've never run ads before for lead gen, would you suggest starting with manual CPC or smart bidding, such as starting with clicks to get some data traffic, then moving to conversions? I agree with what Roger just mentioned. which means that in the beginning, it's oftentimes better for a little bit more control to start with manual CPC. And once you get to that initial, let's say 30 conversions or so, you can start testing with maximized conversions. But if I had a service-based business who never ran ads before, then I will assume that they have limited budgets. Then I would probably start with manual CPC, because max conversions is just, it can go sky high in no time. So manual CPC is still a really viable option in the beginning. Jasmine, do you have any tips for improving matching rate of B2B customer match audiences? I'm using data from all our marketing channels, lead gen efforts, wherever a user agreed to data being used for marketing, stuck at around 40% matching rate. Pooh, man, that's tough. I would, with customer match, just add as much data as you can. So extra data, not only email addresses. I forgot what the bare minimum is. Email addresses, names, maybe, but also addresses. If you can, that should also be able to help you increase match rates. But apart from that, that's a tough one. Here, we answered this question. What are your top tasks you do on an unproductive day? I love that question. LinkedIn, walk, create new course, check keyword search, or anything else. Well, if it's an unproductive day and you can, take a break. But if you can't and you're forced to continue working, yeah, going on a walk is always good. Workout. If I feel really unproductive, it doesn't really make any sense to just sit here and try to force myself to do something. What usually helps is get a change of scenery and switch it up, do something else. That, yeah, generally speaking, means going on a walk, a run, workout, go outside, hang out with my girlfriend, whatever it is. But just anything that takes me away from work. That can be 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 60 minutes, maybe even a whole afternoon. And that kind of resets it for me. But I think the worst you can do is try to work through being unproductive, because then you're just gonna sit there and yeah, waste your time. Okay, I have to remove this. Be right back. 21 more. Tiberio, would you happen to know where I can find a pMax script for optimization? So let me know what you actually want to optimize, so I can point you in the right direction. But go to pmaxscript.com. That's Mike Rowe's Performance Max script. That's the best one. Also, well, actually, let me pull it up for you. 1 sec, Tiberio, I'm looking something up. Scripts. Whoop. Looking up an issue of the PPC Edge with some of my favorite pMax scripts. Yeah, 5. This is issue number 91 of the PPC Edge. Brand analyzer shows you the share of brand. pMax script at Mike Rhodes. This is the most important one. He also has a nice Whisperer script that gets you new and cool insights. Non-converting search terms by Niels Roymans, and Flowboost labelizer. So those are my 5 favorite pMax scripts, and you can get them. Yeah, check out PPC Edge issue number 91. That's where you can find them. Okay. Let me pull up, share my screen again, guys. 1 sec. Yeah, here we go. Share this tab. Okay. Oh, Benjamin, Goku or Vegeta? You're asking me all the right questions. That is a tough one, dude. Oh my god. What's yours? What's your pick? Goku or Vegeta? Man, Goku is the GOAT, but Vegeta has always been my favorite. I've always had sort of affinity for bad guys who are actually good in a sense. Vegeta just has an interesting storyline, interesting dynamics. I like his power level. Man, Vegeta is super cool, but I guess Goku is the goat of all characters in any show. But Vegeta is just so based. Yeah, Vegeta, I get that. Vegeta is a real G. Yeah, he's more interesting. That's true. Favorite Pokemon then? Heidi, how do you handle a shopping pMax shopping only campaign for products that switch continuously? There are no or few recurring products. Example, a clothing store. Yeah, performance-based bucketing would be great in this case. Don't know that one. We have a client with a monthly budget of 5,000 for their ads. Currently, the budget is spent within 20 to 22 days while achieving the desired goals. The client is unwilling to increase the budget and requests to pause the campaign until the next month. Well, that sucks. I don't really know what the question is now, though. I'll look out for your question if it's there. When calculating a conversion value, do you use a fictional value? No. If it's ecom, just use the purchase value. What's the best shopping ad structure for a shop with thousands of products and lots of categories? Yeah, I answered that before, but it really depends, obviously. But if I had to choose one campaign structure that is working well, it is performance-based bucketing, where you have products that are being labeled based on performance, and they switch between heroes, sidekicks, villains, and zombies, which basically means your best performers, products that have high potential, underperformers, and products with low impressions. This tends to work really well. But if you're a retailer with a lot of different categories and products, you can even create segmentations within this labelizer setup. So it depends on the conversion volumes that you get. If it's really big, if you're getting thousands of conversions per month, yeah, you can create more segmentations than if you get, let's say, for example, only 30. What is data-driven attribution? Is that important? We need to kickstart on using this. Data-driven attribution. So attribution is just the value of a click, how a conversion is attributed to a click or a touch point that led to that conversion. So let's say someone has converted, they have a whole path that led to that conversion. If Google Ads can measure, for the steps that Google Ads can measure based on clicks, it's going to assign some of the value to a certain campaign or a certain keyword or anything else. If you have last click attribution, then the click that you got the last before the conversion gets 100% of the value. If it's first click, the first click gets all of the value. So let's say there were 3 clicks, one in pMax and 2 on keywords. The last one on the keyword would get 100% of the value with last click. But if it's data-driven attribution, then from all of these 3 clicks, Google's going to check which one should receive more value than the others, and it's going to get a higher percentage of the conversion of that click. Data-driven attribution, in my opinion, yeah, it is the standard, it is default, but it's also nice because it allows you to see the value of more touch points, and it prevents you that you get blinded by the thing that led to the click. There was the last touch point that led to a click. And that can be an issue because then you're neglecting everything that came before that, which is, other touch points. Another attribution question, great one. When running YouTube campaigns, how do you do attribution? Do you disregard view conversions? Yeah, view through conversions and engage view conversions are tricky. When I use YouTube with one of my bigger clients that I've run YouTube for in the past, we had Northbeam to show the real value or the better value of the YouTube campaigns. And Northbeam is a third-party attribution tool, which is unbiased. and we decided to build a custom attribution tool that gave more credit to first touch or earlier touch points. So that gave more value to Meta, 0 to email, 0 to branded search, etc. And with YouTube, that also got a little bit more of the attribution, because generally speaking, it was one of the first touch points, and got a lot of it can get a lot of value in terms of brand associations that you can build through video. So if I'm running YouTube with a big budget, I would not only look at Google Ads attribution, but if I did, I will also look at conversion paths, etc., to see where YouTube played a role in the whole conversion path. Hanan, what's the best way to market? What's the best way to market to increase student enrollments in schools/education sector? How would you go about it if you were doing it for a school with a limited budget? Make it really local, I would say. Hyper relevance. Let's see. Maybe also, yeah. That's it for the Google Ads side, but I would already start to think about things that you can do outside of Google Ads. So more maybe use influencers or other people that have, you know, influencing power to get people to apply for a certain school or education, certain college, and that's also tough if you have limited budget. So I would try to make it as local and as relevant as possible. Okay, I don't get this question. So I have a few more left. Let's see if there's more unanswered questions. Ramiel, would love to know how you implement and leverage AI. Well, I guess we all leverage AI with smart bidding and everything that has to offer, so that's good. But I don't really use AI as much. Let's see. Yeah, apart from a little bit of ChatGPT here and there, I haven't. My issue with AI tools right now is that it feels like most of them are just not finished yet. Not when we not at the point where we want it to be or what they promise to be. Even when I play around with image generating AI tools, it's just suboptimal. And maybe my prompts are just not good enough. I'll admit that. And I'm definitely not an expert on this subject yet. So my learning curve is still like I'm super low right now. But it's also the output that I've gotten from it is just you can see the potential it has, but it is often just not good enough. So for example, I've tried using AI tools to edit our podcast, for example, and you get these clips, but usually it's just like 90% there, and the final 10% is what makes it usable. So yeah, in my opinion, it's just not there yet. But hey, I'll admit, I haven't tried my best yet too much with AI. I have, well, one way I have been able to successfully use AIs with ChatGPT is just have it create video ad scripts. That was really, really helpful, and with responsive search ads, etc. But those are maybe like more of the basic things. Okay, Benjamin. So when on any given day, a conversion quantity is split up between, say, 2 campaigns. Yeah. This could be an example of data-driven attribution. It also has to do with the time of the conversion and the time of the click. But yeah, if certain campaigns have trackable touch points, so usually clicks within your within your conversion window, then it's going to be attributed by the data-driven attribution to some of those touch points that came before, and some might get 1.0, the other 0.8, another one again 1.0. That kind of depends. When deciding to change a bid strategy, for example, from max conversions to target ROAS, what should we look at? What metrics should be considered? Your conversion threshold, the conversion amounts. So let's aim for at least 30 in a month before you test target ROAS. Also, your current performance, your budgets. But the most important thing here is conversion volume. So that's something that I would always consider initially. Is just how many conversions are you getting, and are you ready to make the switch? Okay, anyone has any questions, guys? I have 10 more to go. Could be anything: Google Ads, PPC mastery, business, freelancing, getting clients, managing clients. Let me know. I'm gonna see if there's any unanswered questions. Best way to optimize product feed. Are there any best practice tools that you prefer to use? Channable, 100%, makes it super easy. Soon, Product Hero and Channable both are going to introduce, I think, AI-based optimization for your feed, which is, I think, is going to change everything, because now you have the AI tool. Oh man, my brain is fried. Shopping feed. It's on GitHub. It's a tool that you can use AI to automate your feed management optimization. But it's kind of technical to start with. But now Product Hero and Channable are building solutions to optimize your feed with AI, and that's going to be so easy to fill, additional attributes, core attributes that are required. Yeah, everything is going to be so much easier with AI if the quality is good. So let's see about that. But I would always start off with the most important attributes, which are the required ones. Without that, if you don't have them, you can't run ads. So you have to set them up. But let's say you have them all in place. Your titles, your images, and your prices are the most important attributes to optimize. And then you also, of course, have the descriptions and all the other secondary things. But yeah. Hopefully that gives you some direction in less than a minute. Is view through or engaged view conversions real? This is where it gets really difficult. I would say no. Don't consider them as real conversions. Because if you do, then you're gonna overcount really fast. So be careful with these things. But then the downside is that in pMax, it's also integrated with engaged view conversion. So yeah, that's hard. Still here, man. I promised 100 questions. I am at 91 right now. Still here, Thomas, for sure, man. 9 more questions and then I'm out. Do you use any ad platform other than Google Ads for your clients? Myself, no, because I always specialized in Google Ads only. And the reason why is because Google Ads in itself is already so hard to master and to stay on top of. So I never wanted to, I've been on crossroads where I considered learning SEO or meta ads. But then I figured, before I learn it, man, it's gonna take me so long. And then I would also lose my specialization in Google Ads. So no, only Google Ads for me. And that has allowed me to operate at the highest level possible, because then I just have single focus on Google Ads. As you know, it's already takes so much time to stay on top of one platform, let alone if I would add meta, man, no, it's too much for me. Hope that helps. Please answer my question about campaign consolidation with different match types. What are your tips for adding broad match keywords to existing phrase and exact match campaigns where traffic is not sufficient to have independent campaigns? Which bid strategy would you use? That's two questions in one. Traffic is not sufficient to have independent. Yeah, consolidate. Put them together. If they're relevant, put them together. bid strategy. Well, if you're using broad match, I would always use smart bidding. If you don't, then it's just you're going to throw so much money away. But smart bidding. Let's see, guys. 7 more, and I'm starting to lose my voice. Man, this has been quite the experience. I don't think I've ever been live this long. Any more questions, guys? Freelancing, whatever it is. Let's see what else do we have. I think we actually almost answered everything. This is a question we haven't answered. And Zishan, how can we add QR code in our call-only ads with call us button and also share? And also we share our number through email or text. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know. Guys, I think we answered all the questions. I'm scrolling through the old questions now, but do you recommend to set the conversions in GA4 or Tag Manager? Technically speaking, Tag Manager is just a way to set up the tracking. I would always recommend to use Tag Manager because it's easier to manage different tags across different platforms. Because otherwise, if you use hard-coded conversion tracking, it's going to get really messy, especially if you have Google Ads, Pinterest, Meta, Facebook, Instagram, all the pixels that you can have. It's just so much easier and more efficient to manage that inside of Google Tag Manager. But again, Google Tag Manager is a way to set up conversion tracking. I think what you're referring to is would I use GA4 or the Google Ads tag? And then I would use the Google Ads tag still to this day because you can measure more and you can use more of the advanced conversion tracking methods that integrate better right now with Google Ads tag than GA4. Okay. I think we have 5 more. What's my passion away from PPC? Love the question. Music. I love techno music. I don't know if you can hear it right now. I don't know if I failed in sharing the audio. No idea. I'm actually going to try again. Yeah, I think it should hear it now. But if not, then that's fine. I love techno music. I love traveling. Seeing different cultures, living abroad. Love all that stuff. Love hanging out with my family, my girlfriend. Playing games, Magic the Gathering. Other video games, like play a lot of RuneScape, World of Warcraft. Right now it's just mostly like more casual games, some FIFA, UFC on the PlayStation 5. Also just binge watching YouTube, anything related to UFC or football, the soccer football, not the American football. Yeah, I guess that's it. And working out, just being active. Is it good to add audience in market and affinities in search and shopping from the beginning? Yeah, only on observation. So I wouldn't use them as targeting because then you're just going, with shopping and search. You're already the targeting is already so contextual, and I think with affinities and in markets, you're just acting on a bunch of assumptions, and I don't think that's the right way to go. The right thing to do with search and shopping. So no, I wouldn't use them. We are running pMax campaigns with shopping ads assets only and using XML product feeds and are unable to create product feeds in feeds. Please help. I don't know. Sorry, can't see this. So I don't know what might be the issue for you. XML feeds usually tend to work. So sorry. Okay. 2 more. Would you use a pMax campaign focused only on customer acquisition, only bid for new customers, or is there a way to test it out without disturbing the performance? I am not a big fan of new customer acquisition tools inside of Google Ads because oftentimes you're just messing up the data. If you want to be, and you're trusting Google Ads data, if you want to be completely sure, get a third-party attribution tool that shows you the split between new and returning customers. That's generally speaking much more trustworthy than the Google Ads tool. You too. Okay, the final question. I like this one. This is great. If you can start all over again, let me see, 1 sec. Final question. If you can start all over again with all your experience and you want to become an expert freelancer in Google Ads again as soon as possible, what things would you do differently? What path would you follow? To be honest, Nicola, great question. I'm actually still super happy with the path that I took. And that is, my goal had always been to be self-employed, so to be free, so that I can, live life on my own terms and just do what I want, whenever I want, with whomever I want. Basically, the life that I'm living now is my dream life. But when I graduated college in 2017, I had no idea what I wanted to do. So my girlfriend and I, we went to Southeast Asia to travel for a couple of months, which was super cool. Back then, I think I was 21 or so. Great experience. But then we came back and I had no money, basically no skills. And I had all this ambition, I wanted to have this life of freedom, lifestyle, etc. But I didn't know how to get there. So I was working part-time at a big B2B sort of supermarket. And my girlfriend actually suggested, I followed Tai Lopez's social media marketing agency course. And that kind of introduced me. I never started my own SMMA or did anything with it. But what I did learn from this is that I found online marketing, digital marketing to be super interesting. So it's a bit of a long story, but I'll get to the point. I was super interested in digital marketing. So my girlfriend, she came across a traineeship in Amsterdam with a Traffic for You agency back then. They rebranded to Reprise when I was working there. Big agency, part of a worldwide group. And I applied for this traineeship. I got hired. And initially, it was supposed to be a 1-year traineeship where you learn Google Ads, SEO, and social advertising. But last minute, they decided that it was going to be Google Ads only and 6 months instead of 12 months. So I was like, yeah, sure, I'll take it. Google Ads, if they said it was going to be social advertising, I would have done that. If they said it was SEO, I would have done that. But I figured I was also interested in e-com because I tried a little bit of drop shipping, which failed miserably. I figured, okay, now I can finally learn a skill that I can monetize later on, or that I can use to build my own e-com store. But at some point, I kind of didn't want to build my own e-com store anymore, but I was still learning how to do Google Ads. So I worked at this agency for 2.5 years, worked on really big clients, a lot of different clients, mostly e-com, really fought for my e-com portfolio, and that helped me become a real Google Ads expert for e-com brands. Then after 2.5 years, I decided to quit because I was feeling confident enough to pursue my freelancing career. And after I started to freelance, my learning took off even further. At some point I thought I kind of knew it all when I worked at an agency, and now I know that this was a faulty mindset. But I'll be honest, I did think that at some point, like, yeah, no, I'm a seasoned expert now. I think I know everything about Google Ads for ecom. But then I started to freelance, and I noticed that there's so many holes, gaps in my knowledge. YouTube ads, which was a big one. Everything that happened after the click, I knew nothing about. So I realized that, oh man, now as a freelancer, I don't have anyone to learn from. I need to change something because I need to keep developing myself. But I did have my own freelance clients, which I was learning from, and I was happy about that. Long story short, yeah, this path allowed me to get where I am today. So 2.5 years at an agency, and then now I've been freelancing for 4 years. Is that correct? Yeah, 4 years already. It's crazy. It still feels so new that I started my freelancing career. It's already 4 years ago. But having this foundation at an agency, working at an agency, which I loved working there, but I also knew that I didn't want to stay there forever. But I kind of sacrificed, quote unquote, 2.5 years of my life doing a job I enjoyed with nice people at a nice company, with the less than ideal lifestyle for myself. But I took the temporary loss, so to speak, for the long-term gain. And now I can do whatever I want, whenever I want. I can travel, work remotely, and that's just living the dream basically. So I would still follow the same path. I would still specialize. I would still work at an agency, but if I had to give some advice, 100% specialize in one thing first, and then you can start to branch out. So get that deep specialization first in Google Ads, and once you have that all in check, you can start to move on to different things. But yeah, great question. Thank you for asking. And that's what I would do. I would do it all over again if I could, the exact same way. Okay, that's all, guys. I answered 100 questions. Let me update it, actually. 100 questions. Insane. I want to thank my brain's so fried. Ramil, Thomas, Ramil Akil, Thomas Etchel, Adrian Decker, Katarina Mariani, and Roger Cooney. I want to thank you guys for joining me live on stage and helping everyone, answering the questions. I want to thank each and every one of you for showing up here, asking awesome questions, for being awesome. Some of you are in the PPC hub. Thank you for stopping by and asking questions. Thanks for hanging out. Some of you may be just following me on LinkedIn. Maybe some of you are new here. Whatever it is, guys, I appreciate you all. Tomorrow we're launching the new season of the PPC Mastery podcast. I'm actually going to see if I can share it. Yep. Share this tab. Here you can see the episodes are planned. So tomorrow we have Jan Moran, then Bob, Adrian Decker, Niklas Buchner, Geert Groot, Bob again, Frederick Boysen, Mike Rhodes, and Thomas Etchel. They are going to be launching every Wednesday starting tomorrow. So that's, yeah. Oh, wait, I can actually not. Here it is. You can see that we have them planned. You can check them out on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts. Just look for the PPC Mastery podcast. Super excited. I hope you enjoy that. And if you watched and listened to some of the episodes, definitely send me a DM with your feedback. We'd love to learn from you guys how we can improve, because the other season definitely is coming. Yeah, and the PPC Hub is closing tonight in 6 hours. I think it's going to open again in 1 or 2 months. We'll see how that goes. But for now, it's going to close for the summer. So if you want to hop on, feel free to do it now. And otherwise, you can do it later. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your day, guys. I really enjoyed doing this. 100 questions. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it ever again, because it's a lot. 100 questions. It's so much. I totally underestimated it. I thought we'd be able to do like 100, like rapid fire. But it's quality over quantity. So I love to take time. I don't want to rush, Roger, Katarina, and everyone else into answering faster. So, but hey, stuck to my word. 100 questions. This was a good practice for myself to just do what I say what I'm going to do, because even at 87 questions, when I finished with Roger, my mind was like, oh, okay, yeah, 87 is fine. 87 is fine. But I said I was going to do 100. So I did 100. And that's a great lesson in consistency and following up being able to trust yourself. So that was a good practice for me as well. Cool, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day, night, evening, morning, whatever it is, and catch you next time in the PPC Hub, in a webinar, in a workshop, whatever it is. All right, guys. Take care. Peace.